All right, so finally, technical difficulties aside, we are finally live. I am honored to have the beautiful Romeo Washington with me today. Romeo, say hi.
Hi.
Do you have any socials or anything you want to plug?
No, not
Mixtape?
really.
You selling any bundles? Or you to plug? What is this?
None of the above.
None of the above. You just
None of the
okay.
above.
I respect it. You are the brand. All right. Thank you again for joining me. It's I won't say it's hard to get people to do this, but it kind of is. Not just from somebody willing to do it, but logistics with COVID and you live in far Virginia, right?
Yes, Richmond,
Okay, yeah, I'm not
Virginia.
gonna give everybody your coordinates or whatever. But I figured because our conversations be lit, because you be letting me vent about shit you have
Facts.
no interest in. But we have a good time. So I figured let the people hear it without posting screenshots, right?
Sure.
No chatty patty, no chatty patty.
Sure.
So I wanted to touch on because it's a little old, but I guess because he got people so much in a tizzy, it's still
Mm.
going. The spicy Kappa man, and I this is how much attention I paid on because I know women are concerned that it's just like Drake says something on an album and then it becomes these chicks captions for the next
Mm-hmm.
year, right?
Right.
So in that essence, anytime some dude comes out with some snappy one-liners, some track it might fit that context, but some trash dude is going to use it to say to a woman just because it's like a one hitter, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that's a fear of this dude, and I think that's a valid fear, especially with him, which we'll get into. But all that to say, I don't pay this nigga no attention. I wouldn't know if he was a dude if it didn't go viral, right?
I mean, facts. Definitely
Like,
facts.
did you watch anything else on his page?
So I watched the full interview, I guess, with the
Yeah.
girl. Like it was like 23 minutes or whatever. So I watched that whole thing. He had another clip that went kind of viral like that same week that came out. But I also listened to like a few little snippets of stuff here and there. And I mean, do I agree with everything that he's said? No.
It's
Does
impossible to.
does some of it have validity? Yes.
Right.
He is kind of, I mean, he can come across as a jerk or he can just come across as blunt. It depends on how you take it.
True. Now, my thing is, I'm not gonna lie, because the clip was hilarious to me, so I wanted to go naturally find out more about him. So I went
Okay.
to his page and I was immediately turned off. Pause. But
Okay.
from the turn off from the point that it was like kind of what I try to get away from on this channel, whereas I'll make my podcast. So for people who are at work or whatever bored and want to listen to me ramble,
Mm-hmm.
they can do that. But if I have a specific subject matter, I'll make a smaller video so you can get right to it. Okay.
Okay.
His mostly are live cast, and to his credit, he's got a following. I believe it's his business because he, for the lack of a better word, charges for advice. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to make it sound callous, but that's his thing. I don't know what
A
his
life coach type
yeah,
of
I don't know
relationship
what his
coach.
background is, but he's committed to it. So I don't knock him for that.
Mm.
It's not geared for the quick content, kind of like a Derek Jackson would be, or like, or somebody who makes these quick to get it out there.
Right.
The flip side of that is, I'm sure he didn't intend to go viral, which speaks to my thing. I don't think he was intentionally trying to embarrass this woman for clout or anything like that. You feel me?
And I agree. I don't think that he was. I don't think it was like intentionally like I'm going to come at you because I know that this is going to be seen by a bunch of people and get me like a bigger
Right.
platform. I don't think it was
Because
that.
I don't know what his followers were before. I think the last time I checked, he's around like the 120, 130,000 now.
Mm.
And he even said it repeatedly, like, you ambushing me right now because that's not what this segment was. We were talking about something else, and you decided to come get some advice, not only for free, but you're gonna disrupt my show if I were to just stop it right now. So fine, let me get you out the way.
And you know what? That was something that I like. I talked with my friends about. Like, it wasn't even like how she presented herself physically. It was like all the things that she presented that weren't physical that were like really standing out to me. Like you called in on a day that you shouldn't have called in. He told you, don't you shouldn't have called in on this day. You were like, so what? I wanted advice, and usually I'd be asleep. So just talk to me now. I know you have a business, but so what? I want to talk to you now. And then even when he was giving her the advice because it wasn't what she wanted to hear, she was just like very dismissive, like, okay, well, whatever. I still deserve what I deserve. And
so anybody would get frustrated with somebody like that. Right. And then if this is your brand, you got to make, and this is in a vacuum. Clearly he don't give a shit because I've looked at his other videos. But if this is our first interaction, which a lot of people didn't know him from a can of paint before this video, and he's probably cognizant that he constantly has to represent his brand. If he were to just get rid of her, or just the narrative would be different. It probably wouldn't have went viral because, or if it did, it would have been for the wrong reason. It would have been like, oh, black woman owns such and such reality coach when she gives him the real and he don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? Something like that. Right. So I'm sure he thought of that. Okay. So from that standpoint, I don't understand, just in a vacuum. Now I looked at his other stuff and I can definitely see why black women either A, don't like him, or worse, feel like he hates black women. Shout out Miranda. How you doing, Miranda? I see you over there. You too, Katisha. I got a little running chat. Thank you. So I see that. But in a vacuum, okay, he wasn't here for that. You know what I mean? And then he tried to break it down for her. Now, I think a lot of the knock is his delivery is bad. But it's like, number one, I think that's also his brand because she called him and wanted it from him so bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? So deep down, she wanted. It's like when you go to a comedy show and you sit front row and you find like, he gonna pick with you. In fact, you would be disappointed if the comedian doesn't notice you, but you don't want him to notice you too much. You might want to get up a little cute joke that's on the surface. Yeah, he fired me up, but not for real. Ha ha ha. He's so funny, talented, and people saw how cute I am. But if a comedian really gets in your ass, you're gonna wonder why you were sitting in the front row. Right?
I didn't know people actually did that, but okay.
No, it's like if you go to comedy shows, there's two types of people. The people who want to sit up front and the people who
That's fair.
Right. So with that, I think that's what she was expecting. She was expecting something, but she was gonna roll with the punches and at the end of the day come out, well, still I represented myself well, and somebody's gonna see this, that I stood up well, and somebody, you know what I mean? Not necessarily the advice would be secondary. Maybe she'll get a tidbit, but like you said, she had made up her mind what it is.
Right.
So in that frame, even if he was nice, I don't think it would have come off any way positive for him. At best, it would have been boring, or he wouldn't have said nothing. Because at the end of the day, bad news is bad news. Criticism is criticism. What determines if it can be constructive is the intent behind it.
I agree.
If I'm trying to wound you, or if I'm just trying to give you the facts.
I don't think that he could have put. I mean, I don't think that he was rude. I think that he was perturbed, and that showed. I think that he was being very direct. I looked at one of his other videos, and he said that like his, I guess, full-time gig is he's an image consultant, and so it read that to me. And so I don't feel like he was being rude or mean. I feel like he was being very blunt. But I mean, sometimes people want you to handle them with kid gloves, and that's just not really an option, especially when you call in and you're like, hey, give me advice of what I'm doing wrong.
Right. It's like going to, and I don't do this hippie shit, but like the people who go to the tarot reading and the cards say you toxic or whatever the fuck them shits be telling y'all. And you be like, nah, shuffle the deck again. You know, like, now, on the flip side too, he's not going to handle you with care. Like I felt like even if he knew that's what you came for, it would make him go harder. But I don't even think he was trying to go there because out of one,
it's not his
that
brand.
wasn't what his segment was about. And two, he was like, I don't think he wanted to hurt her feelings because I think he appreciated that she is a fan. You know what I mean? But as it goes on, I keep saying the same shit. Like I work in customer service. And every day I wonder how I got this job because I do not like to repeat myself. I speak slowly like I'm talking to a 4-year-old and I constantly have to repeat myself and it's infuriating. But at least I get to hide behind a phone because I'll be wilding. With a camera, So for that fact, he held that shit together. You know what I mean?
I used to work in customer service, and I agree.
So, and that's what this is at the end of the day, customer service.
Mm-hmm.
Except I'm relying on you for a positive review when you know I'm about to give you shit you don't want to hear. That's
Right.
bananas. Now, the other thing is, you know, and this was more of an aftermath because I don't want to go through the whole everything what happened, but a lot of the complaints were that he was dismissive of her. And you got to understand, at least to simplify it, you don't go fishing with Skittles. You put a worm on the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Skittles may taste good, they might be great, but fish ain't looking for them. That's what I took it as. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
I mean, she called in asking for advice about what she was doing wrong and what she needed to change in order to land this 6-figure man that she felt like she deserved. So what are you expecting? So, like from the public, like what are you expecting him to be like with her? Like, oh, you're great, you're fabulous, you don't need to do anything. Well, clearly that's not gotten her the results that she wanted.
And he even said there's nothing so much you can do. I think that's what it is. A lot of people accuse him of maybe not only stealing her hope, but making her feel bad for even hoping it. Because he even told her, it's like, I don't think you're a bad person. You probably are a great person. You know what I mean? But what you want isn't necessarily looking for a great person. You know what I mean? They'll take a good person with another package.
But that's just the reality of the situation.
I don't know who I am. And I'm cute. Like, this is me, COVID. You know, this is Miranda, I see you. I'm about to get into his track record. I promise you, I see you. But this is me, COVID rough. I got the, and Rihanna still will never know who the fuck I am, no matter how much I tweet her, how I read.
You should manifest what you want and say shit.
Yeah, I'm speaking, which I do, speaking to existence, right?
Boom.
Look, give me some candles. It's lit. But it's just is what it is. Now, the only part that I started to cringe with and was hurt for her, there were two parts. One, when he asked her to rate herself. You know what I mean? And if you notice, he said, what do you rate yourself physically, 1 to 10? He paused for like a half a second, and then he said, don't tell me 7. And when he said that shit spoke to my spirit.
Because we all rate ourselves a 7.
And there's a reason why we all give ourselves a 7. Okay? Because on a 1 to 10, 5 is the true average. That's the median. Mm-hmm. However, in America, most of us go to school where a C average is 70%. Then you factor in the ego, where a lot of people who are fine don't want to seem full of themselves, so they want to give themselves a number that's above average, but a little room, you know what I mean? And then the people who don't want to seem braggadocious because somebody will humble you, but 7 is safe. So by taking 7 away, he was going to drive you into the average, the bad range, or the fly as hell range. And even she knew it. So she tried to qualify it. 5 without my makeup. 6 with it.
Right.
And then when he called her average, he said, that's average. That's not an insult, but because it's lower than what you know in her brain the number was before he said, don't give me I will bet my left nut she was going to say 7.
I agree.
You know what I mean? And that's the bigger nut. I will bet my left nut that she was going to say 7.
I agree.
When he took that away from her, that caused her, 1, to confront a slight reality. And then 2, he said, you're average. Number 2, nobody likes being told they're average, even though average is not an insult unless the person is
average.
saying it. Yeah, unless somebody says it like, you know what I mean? He just said, you're average. So then what is the response from most people? He was like, everybody was like, look at him. And they went looking up his photos.
Well, fallacy, you know.
And it looked like 3 different niggas. Like his skin tone goes from light skin to dark skin, his hairline.
It did.
I don't know if that's lighting. I don't know if it's Riri's Fenty skincare. I don't know. And then he's a Kappa, and his mannerisms are a tad tangy. I'm not going to say that he's gay, and even if he was, I don't. Oh, is that what it is, Miranda? He wears makeup.
He wears.
I don't
Oh,
know.
okay. Well, he's
see,
wearing the
I don't
wrong
know how to
shade
tell.
because he's very gray.
Right. But the thing is, so image consultant aside, and I love my fellow Greeks. Okay, this is not me coming for Catholics. But when people find out or even think Kappas are gay, nobody bats an eye. Because it's kind of like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, so, but this was not objective. This was malicious in response to they felt he's chopping this black woman down with his gay, non-dressing, bad skin, receding hairline, old ass.
Okay, so
Right?
I'm not part of the. I'm not Greek, so I don't want to comment on that because that's not my wheelhouse. But I don't really like when we're having an argument like on social media and we go to attack, you know, the person who started this whole thing.
Right.
Like that really doesn't have any bearing. I understand it's just like
a defense
I'm
mechanism.
angry, so I'm going to attack him.
Yeah. It happens to me all the time. You be on my page.
I can't hear you again.
You can't hear me again? Mm-mm. See, this is why we were late because the audio was tripping. What about now? Can you hear me now?
It's coming back now.
What about now? Oh my God.
Nope.
What about now?
Nope.
Nothing? Nothing? Hello?
No, I can't hear anything.
I can hear you.
We was doing so good.
We was, man. I got a phone call, and I think that screwed it up.
I can hear you now.
You can hear me now?
And it just went away again.
You can hear me now? Hello?
Can't hear anything.
Why can I hear you and you can't hear me? Am I back yet?
I think I can hear you now.
Now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Thank you, Jesus. I don't know what's going on with that. It wasn't doing this before.
Yeah.
But for now, I can't hear you through my headphones. But I'm gonna keep my phone right here like a group.
Okay.
All right. So what were we talking about? Yeah, the defense mechanism where people like to attack whenever they get into an argument.
Yeah, and I mean they attacked how he looked. And granted, is it my cup of tea? I mean, no, but that doesn't take away from the fact of the things that he said. While they may have been blunt and may have come across as rude, had bearing on the conversation that they were having.
Right. And in this instance, it actually works in reverse. It proves his point because they went from saying that, oh, okay, who are you to tell this black woman that she's average? Whoop-de-whoop. I'm like, first of all, she told herself that she's average. He just repeated it, number one. But who the fuck are you? And then he went so far as to say he can't beat these girls off with a stick. But here's the thing. What do we know about women? In general, okay, what do we know about women? Ugly niggas have women all the time. Gay niggas in the closet have women all the time. The common denominator is them niggas have money. And even some broke ugly niggas have women because worried about the D got out.
I mean, it's not, look, I'm offended because I like medium ugly guys, okay? And they don't have to have money.
Okay, but those are the niggas you actually like. What I'm saying to you is women will get with a nigga that they would not look at otherwise if he's paid.
I mean, true.
So with that, assuming that he has money, which I don't know this man's life, but y'all coming for him, I don't doubt that he's got shorties on him. Whether or not they like him is irrelevant. You know what I mean? because he might not even like them. He might not want to marry them. He just likes pretty young things around him.
Right.
I live in PG County, about 15 to 20 minutes outside of DC, 30 minutes from Howard. If I were to open my Tinder right now, I couldn't go 10 swipes without 3 or 4 sugar babies.
I mean,
it's just a thing right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
But I mean,
So,
that's a thing all the time, because like I tell my friends, like, a woman's currency is her beauty. That's just what it is. Her youth and her beauty, that's her currency. It can get her into a lot of doors based upon how she looks.
And life is hard for women who
is facially. But a man's currency is currency. If he has enough dollars, he can get into those same exact doors that this beautiful young woman can get into. And that's just the reality of the situation.
Right.
And I mean, men have made it that way, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. That's trash. That's patriarchy. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, men do like pretty women, just like women will like pretty men. Even the ones who like medium ugly men can still appreciate a good looking man. You know what I mean? It's just not when they will date. A lot of men have problems seeing past a woman who is not classically attractive. And I hate saying that because somebody called me classically attractive one time, but it was not a compliment. Like the way she said it, I was like, did you just call me basic, bitch? Like you know, like I don't think I'm the prettiest dude, but what you not gonna do?
What you not finna do is, I mean.
Now, my friend Miranda in the chat, I don't know if you can see it, is saying that he implied that she should be able to change her face. I didn't hear that, but he might have, because I think every time I went to go look at his interview, I was trying to clip it down, so I didn't watch that whole 2-hour, 3-hour feed.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, he implied she should change her face and like telling her, "Oh, you're ugly. Go get plastic surgery."
I didn't see that.
I don't know if that's what he meant, but that's trash if he did. I'm not gonna alibi him.
I didn't see that. I saw 20 minutes, but he didn't say that when in the 20 minutes I saw.
Right. So now that was the one cringeworthy person, because nobody likes. I don't get off on hurting people. I know it seems different on the internet because I'm routinely telling people about themselves. And I'm not going to sit here and act like it's from a place of love every time, because I don't know most of these people most of the time. But where it is from a pure place. I confront ignorance. And not only that, I get into your ass and I give you a full chance to get me mine back, because maybe you might teach me something. Either in something I didn't know, I'm wrong, because I can admit when I'm wrong. It's just very rarely do y'all ever prove me fucking wrong. You know what I mean? And then number two, I also learned how to deal with people, because everybody's like, why are you always arguing with idiots? Because one, people listening might have agreed with that person and then I changed their mind or two, I learned how this is not an effective way to show an idiot they're an idiot. Don't do this again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then three, maybe I'm the idiot, and if I realize I'll admit it. I'm like, oh shit, I need to stop saying that bullshit.
Have you ever realized that you were the idiot?
It's happening. Most of the time it happens in the DMs.
Okay.
But I'll come back and say, oh man, I fucked that up. But most of the time, people are ill-equipped for that argument, not because I think you're stupid. Like, even if you're a smart person, y'all don't understand. I'm my own biggest critic. So before I bring shit to y'all, I've argued with myself. You know what I mean? Like this is dumb.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so by the time I get to y'all, it's like I'm past that. But because I'm one person, I don't know everything. I like to keep people around. I'm not one of those people who sanitizes my page to get rid of people who I know to be racist, who I know to be stupid, because they're my barometers to make sure that I don't drift into their nonsense.
Okay.
Two, that's how I keep up on what the enemy is saying. You know what I mean? The only time I'll block you is if you're spamming my page, like trying to sell me Jordan Heels, or if you are attacking people beyond the comments, like if you're harassing them, it's like then no, I'm gonna get you out the paint. But other than that, no. You know what I mean? So from the sake of somebody who constantly is self-evaluating himself, I could not see how this one clip got so many people mad. But I do see how when you empathize with this young lady like I do, a lot of people don't know how to empathize without automatically taking that person's side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Even if they're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the second cringeworthy moment was at the end when she was like, "You're hurting my feelings." You know what I mean? Because again, I don't think she went in there really honestly trying to get an answer so much as to reaffirm herself.
Yeah.
That even if he goes in on me, I'm still a good person. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like, I do think I'm actually impressed with her. I went and tried to hear more about her. Evidently, she's a dog groomer
Mm-hmm.
or a pet groomer. I don't know if it's just dogs.
Yeah, she
And
said she's
she's
a
built
pet
that into a
groomer, has
six-figure
a
business, which is impressive. And she's a single mom. You know what I mean? Like, so I think she is in fact a catch. Like it's just a matter of who's trying to catch her is the real issue here. I think the first point that he made had nothing to do with her appearance. He even said, "You want these men, but you're never even around them."
right.
So what you are looking for me to do one of two things. You either want me to conjure up some men so that you can pick from one, or so that they can all decide which one of them is going to take you out, which is just not going to happen. This is not The Bachelor, you know what I mean, or Bachelorette. Or two, you want me to somehow mind control these men who I can't even say are ignoring you because they don't know you exist. You're never around them, but for to this point have not made themselves available to you to come find you. That is not going to happen. That was his first point. You're not even around these dudes to attract them. And you don't have the physical, I don't want to say skill set, but presentation, facade, whatever it is, to come and get strange rich men to come find you, like an IG honey. Like there's plenty of IG honeys that these niggas don't know from a can of paint, but they in their comments.
Right.
So if your game is substance, which I do believe you have substance, if you're not going to get that substance around the people you want to buy it, they're not ever going to choose you. It's like you trying to be a dog groomer somewhere that in an apartment that doesn't allow pets. Like nobody has pets here.
I just wonder, like, what exactly. I wonder what she wanted to hear.
I know what she wanted to hear. Keep on keeping on, sister. You doing right. Maybe we'll get you a makeover, you know, because this is a little dated. Yes. And go here. These were the men at. Or you know what? You're a dog groomer? My boy got a dog. Let me put you in. That's what she wanted to hear. But I think there's a part of her that, and I give her the credit, she knew that wasn't it. She just didn't, and that's why she called this dude. You know what I mean? Like subconsciously.
Well, she said at the beginning, she said, I feel like I should date a 6-figure man because I'm a 6-figure woman.
You want to be equally yoked. I'm not mad at that.
And she was like, most of the men that I end up dating find out I own a business, and that then they're like, well, maybe let me invest in your business, or how can I get into the business with you? Kind of like seeing her as a leg up.
Oh.
And so she was like, well, what am I doing wrong?
To boss up versus to grow. They don't really want, normally that would be great. You want your man to be invested in you, but that's not what they're doing. They're looking at it as the boss up so they can go elsewhere.
Right.
And I sympathize with sisters because it's like women can't win. They're told if they go after men that are out of their league, either financially or because they're not just drop dead gorgeous to pull anybody they want, that they're gold diggers.
And they're not, to anyone who's watching.
But then they're told that if they won't give, or if they do give somebody below their station a chance, then they deserve what comes to them because they're dating riffraff. So I fully recognize women can't win as long as niggas are dictating what a woman's win is. That is, hold on. Shit. That was supposed to be a gunshot. There we go. But so I fully get that. Women can't win for losing. That, and I sympathize. My thing is, it's like if you, it almost gets back to the 6-foot situation where it's like if it's superficial like that, because that's what everybody's mad at him. Everybody's reducing her looks to who she is. That they don't matter about none of the other shit that she's done. That she can't bring value to a 6-figure nigga. You know what I mean? But except for her looks, it's almost the same argument when women are talking about, oh, he's cute, but he's 5'8". You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, everybody has their preferences, but the thing, the reality of the situation is what we discussed earlier, is that money opens a man up
Doors.
to more options.
Opens them up to options, and that's not our fault. It just is what it is. I've never met a broke nigga without no hoes. And I say hoes collectively. They might not actually be whores.
You just
if
saying
you
hoes
will.
because you don't know their names.
Yes, there you go. And even if they're gay, you know. But the other thing, let's take the money out of it. Let's talk about the height. I know a dude, I'm not gonna say his name, who is 5'8", 5'9" on a good day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Who gets more cat than a little bit. And from women, it's hilarious to me. From women, be like, get your little short ass out of here. And then I watch it and I'm like,
is he a volume shooter though? Because what I have found is that, like,
he don't shoot. They come for him.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he'll do one initial flirt, and then whatever voodoo. If I knew the voodoo he did, I would do it, but I don't. And I don't never see him with no mid. No, ever. Never with no mid. And these be chicks that I might have known before, because every now and then he'll pull one off my page, but a lot of times I used to yank him off his. But like he might pull a girl off that I know disrespects short niggas, not just on the internet. I've seen it happen. You know what I mean?
I mean, the reality of the situation is most men are not over 6 feet.
But if you tell a dude that I'm average height, and that's 5, which is 5'9", 5'10", women will be like, what? So how y'all can do that? But then when this man calls this woman average on looks based on, and she believes,
I mean, of course, it's always going to be a double standard. It's always going to be a double standard when it comes to preferences.
That's all I'm saying. But it's like, I think the other thing is, my man's in them never puts himself in a position to lose, meaning that he's not gone only on Facebook or whatever trying to pull chicks. He set up a bunch of our travel groups, and every time we go somewhere, there's baddies around. And I know he did the recruiting. You know what I mean? He don't never have us in the wrong spot. Now, that don't mean that they're just going to come to us. We still got to go work. But he's put us in a target-rich environment. He's already laid the groundwork with the one that he wanted more. You know what I mean? And we flirt. So that goes back to the dude's original point. You're not around these niggas for them to even trip and fall and see your substance. You're wondering why these dudes aren't flocking to you. And the eyes are what get people to flock. And what you present to the eyes isn't necessarily flock material. I'm not going to call you unattractive. Somebody, because of bias points, you might be exactly what they're looking for. So you might gain a point or two. But for the masses, this ain't it. So if your game is actually substance, you need to get your product around them. Stop expecting them to come to you. And understand that even when you're around them, it might not pan out the way you think, because a lot of them ain't looking for it. That's what I took. And maybe that was the nice way to put it, but that's not his brand. And two, you hijacked his fucking broadcast.
I mean, he did say at the beginning, he was like, you called in on the wrong day. I'm going to use this as a teaching moment. So he told her, he laid out the expectation before they even got into the whole thing.
He even said, book a session, please.
Yeah.
Please, I don't want to do this right now. And yeah, maybe it might have come off, oh, you just trying to charge me. No, lady, this is going to go bad.
But I mean, she said, she was like, I watch you all the time. She was like, but I'm usually asleep during your broadcast. So you know his brand. You're familiar.
You came here for a reason. So now, in fairness, so that's if we look at it in a vacuum, just that interview. I will say that the dude can be detrimental for two reasons. Even if he doesn't mean to, which I don't know if I believe that, but again, I don't know the man. You go look through his other content, and not only is it more of the same, which you can argue is consistency. He even told a dude that second clip went viral. It was only like a few seconds, but he said, "Do you have a big dick?" And he's like, "Well, I don't have." It's a yes or no.
Then he was like, "I know, I got a big dick." Okay, humble brag.
Yeah, it's a yes or no. What y'all call it? Big dick energy. You know what I mean? Like, it's either yes or no. If you don't, you don't. There's plenty of niggas with normal or even small dicks out here with women.
Yeah.
But if I'm gonna hold this girl accountable on her own self-image, nigga.
Yeah.
You know, like, So when he did that, I'm like, oh, he keeps the same energy. It's not, with women, particularly black women. But I will say this. This is where I think he's toxic. Kind of what I said in the front. He gives niggas a platform and ammunition to say things to women that they would never otherwise get off because that ain't your life. Like my homeboy Antonio said, a pet peeve of his is he hates when a fine girl's complaining about relationship problems, and then this not so fine girl acts like she got the same problems when you don't.
She could have the same problems.
She might, but what I'm saying is for the men, he's talking about top grade men, high grade men, quality men, prefer this, that, and the third. And then you got this nigga who
that does not fit that.
Yeah, and she needs to lose some weight. And it's the comments. I don't see him again. As somebody who has only close to 5,000 followers, I can't keep up with all the niggas who comment on my shit. And even if I could, fuck y'all, I won't. You know what I mean? So I don't. But at the same time, I would address that. I call niggas out on my page all the fucking time. I didn't see none of that on his shit. Now, granted, it was a cursory look, so that's what turned me off.
I mean, I will say this. I didn't listen to a lot of his material. The three or four things I did listen to, 3 of them was black women, and he was getting in their ass.
Yeah.
Like he told some girl, he was like, oh, you happily single or whatever, and she was like, I'm 30, and he was like, oh, you're almost about to expire.
I had to get away from that too.
And she was like, I'm 30. And he was
you said it yourself, a woman's youth and beauty are her currency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that trope, it is kind of what I'm talking about. There is validity in that, but niggas take that shit and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's kind of like, you get women, when women are like, anywhere, I want to stay legal. I'm not going to get into the creepy shit. Okay? But let's say your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
All right? From a 20 to 30 is when most women have the world at their feet. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how attractive you are, period, this is the most attractive you're going to be in life, physically. Okay? So from there, depending on if you are a real world 5, 10, whatever it may be, you're going to move a certain way. Because you, in your mind, you have your life ahead of you. You know what I mean? You got options. Niggas are replaceable. Whoop-de-whoop. Every now and then, one of you might find love, or some of you are more focused on your studies, becoming whatever it may be. But this is the time where you can physically make that decision. When you start getting into the late 20s and 30s, we all know black don't crack, but some people's black fades a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, where now you're starting to look for a mate. And depending on whatever your choices were before, either because you were deep in medical school, law school, you just weren't meeting niggas, or you were dating just for fun, or whatever it may be. Nobody, there's no manual to this shit. But you find out you can't quite move the way you did before.
Yeah.
If for nothing else, that maybe, I won't say men are scarce because we're out here, but I went to an HBCU. When I was a freshman, there was one man or one male for every 13 women. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they say in college, look to your left, look to your right. One of y'all not going to be here. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So as you go on, that same cohort, some of them dudes are dropping off. So and Tuskegee has some baddies. So it was a happy hunting ground. Like you had to, it was what it was. And don't be an athlete or popular or Greek or something. You know what I mean? Like, so if you extrapolate that to the real world, where these people are now graduating professionals, the gap between college educated, career black women and men is even wider. Okay. Yeah. Not to say that there aren't good, I won't say blue collar, but non-degree professionals who are making good money out here, tradesmen, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But between what your family's been telling you or what you went to school looking for, I want a man with a degree who gets me, who, but they're even scarcer. Your best chance to get one was at college when you've seen that nigga.
Right.
Now you out in the wild where now there's other schools where it was 13 or more to 1. And them same chicks are looking for the even fewer amount than you did.
And the same type of man.
Right. So, like, I tell you all the time, like, life would be so much simpler if I could just tap into my inner fuckboy. Like, I have fuckboy tendencies at times, but I just don't have the energy, and I don't like doing bad things to people. But because I try not to, well, you see the conversations that I'm not gonna I be sending her screenshots of y'all chicks wilding on me, by the way. It's a safe space though, it's a vacuum. Like
it
she's
is.
not, but so and that's what I'm saying. It's like expectations versus reality. You know what I mean? Like I had to find this shit out. Like I've let myself get a little gooey now, and chicks talk to me all kinds of crazy. And I was never like Mr. Player or whatever, but I'm like, what you not about to do?
You're not fitting to talk to me like that.
Right. So I mean, and I get it. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So when you get older and everything, you got goals. You want to be married. You want to have kids. And I hate that there was some study that came out that said that actually, when men get older, their sperm get less quality, if you will. So the chances of a birth defect or something like that increase more with an older man than it does with a woman. I don't know how true it is. I saw one study. I don't know if this was made more of a patriarchal propaganda or if it's built in science, but the trope is that like women's eggs have a shelf life. And that's backed up by the fact that even if it's not necessarily the quality of the eggs has a shelf life, the availability of the eggs has a time. Like, but the older you get, you're more high risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if that blended into the trope that, oh, women are old, used enough. I'm sure it did. I don't look at women like that, but many men do. And women internalize that shit. Oh, I'm not getting any younger. Like, every woman I meet now is trying to get married in 3 to 4 business months. Like,
God bless y'all.
Like, I'm like, do you even like me, or do you just like the fact that I'm not?
They just want to be married. A lot
I'm not short, not ugly, don't have any felonies, don't have a neck tat, and don't have any kids. Okay. Are you ready to get married? No, bitch.
That's how a lot of women do run down the list, though. Like, okay, I could do this. This is fine.
That's exactly. And I don't want, just like y'all want somebody about you, I don't want somebody who could do this, who could make it work. He ain't that bad. Nah, get the fuck out of here. I know I'm lit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm supposed to risk half my shit for that. You know, and people are like, you're just jaded. You don't like women. You want to be alone. I'm like, no, I would rather be alone than in some bullshit. You know what I mean?
I think that's fair.
I can do a lot worse than just me. Okay.
That's fair.
Like, it is what it is. But so I'm not here for anybody. And who I contrast him to, have you ever heard of a dude called Tony Sotomayor?
No.
Okay. I caution you to go look for him because I don't want to give him any more traffic. But
okay,
he is, in addition to a woman hater, he's a coon. So he's one of the ones who, an unabashed coon. He is obviously conservative, but he bigs up white women and constantly telling black women how they're inadequate, how they're wild, they're ghetto. Nobody wants. This
is the problem that I have. Like, and I'm sure like his stance is like, oh, you know, you shouldn't worry about it, whatever have you. Like, as a general rule, black women don't get one single solitary fuck where you stick your dick. We don't care, but leave us the fuck up out of it. Like, why do we have to even be brought up into this situation time and time again? If you wanna go ahead and fuck the 2025, I'm sorry, the 25-20, then go ahead and do that. We don't care. Have all of the mixed children that you want. Enjoy your non-seasoned chicken. Great. Okay, but leave us the fuck up out of it. And half of the men who are on this shit, we don't even fucking want anyway.
And that's it. I don't think it really hurts until it is a nigga that previously was a sex symbol, and then y'all even think that might be the case. And I offer two niggas, two impossible really, but two niggas to proof of that. Omari Hardwick, when y'all found out, when I say y'all collectively, but when y'all found out what his wife looked like, that woman didn't do shit to none of y'all. Y'all went, oh, this way he wants all those black women, he chose this.
I mean, first of all, Omar Hardwick is like 5'8".
Is he?
He's short.
Okay.
He's very.
But y'all didn't know that.
He's very, very short. And he's not the type, like, he's not the type of black dude that most black women want, if we being 100% honest. Like, he sits in his room and he writes poetry. Like, I'm talking about,
well,
like,
yeah, now that y'all know who he
wise.
is, but most people met Omari as Ghost or as a character in a role where he just like, he's swole, he got a goatee, he wears suits, he a thug.
Yeah, that
the image of him.
The reformed thug archetype that women love so much. That shit is not.
Thank you.
That shit is not real, lady.
I'm gonna let him have it though.
It's not real.
Whatever. I'm gonna let him have it. Yes, these corporate thugs.
It's not real. He's not gonna go to brunch with you on Sunday after
I saw
he, like,
about
shoot
that.
somebody in the kneecap on
also
Saturday.
Like brunch and wine tastings.
Like, no, he's not gonna do that.
This shit will get him killed in the hood.
He's not gonna do that.
And then Michael B. Jordan.
Were people checking
who
for him
didn't
for real?
do shit to nobody. 2 years ago, he did like a sport, the body issue for Sports Illustrated or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be naked?
Mm-hmm.
It was right after he did Creed. And he was like, all the women were fawning over him. And then it came out where he was either dating or they thought he was dating a white woman, or he had a birthday party and there was a boat and it was nothing but white women, but he was in Spain. See, he don't like us. And then chicks went in on him on his Twitter account saying, "Oh, his dick little." Anyway, they started zooming in. Like,
I don't understand why. I guess it's like that episode of Atlanta. Did you watch Atlanta?
I watched Atlanta.
Where the girl was like, "Why can't we have him?" And she's like, "Well, maybe he just found a good woman and I was with him when he had nothing," and blah, blah, blah. She was like, "Well, bitch, I don't have enough time to be sitting around building up a man, blah, 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 blah."
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
But, I mean, who cares?
And again, I sympathize with black women who are constantly told they are less than, who are constantly told they're not what to be aspired to, who are constantly told or reinforced that our men are constantly looking for, oh, we're good enough to play with, but they want a white woman to submit their status or whatever. Because that happens. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But what you also got to understand is kind of what that dude is saying. These white women are diabolical. Like the shade, what was that shit? Baller Alert. Baller Alert is kind of like a gossip blog now, and almost like a news source.
Okay.
But Baller Alert started as a bunch of hoes, and yes, I say that with actual hoes.
Okay.
A bunch of hoes on the internet pooling their resources to track ballers, what hotels they were at, where they were, yada, 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 so that they could put themselves in a position to get chose. That's what Baller Alert was. That's why it's called Baller Alert. You know what I mean? Now it's grown, and I'm not minimizing those women. I don't think that if you're a Baller Alert aficionado or not, you're automatically a hoe trying to catch a man. I'm just telling you that is just one aspect of how certain women put themselves in a position to get trapped, whatever, these men. Okay, are they aided by privilege? Yes, because in addition to just putting on a freakum dress and knowing where the guy's staying or whatever, these girls will go to college and take a major that they have no intention of flourishing in, like sports medicine or whatever, because they know who else is in those classes. The niggas who are really only in college until they get drafted. So they're in there. They go to these classes, they become his tutor or his friend or whatever, and they start dating him. So they get to him before he even gets drafted.
Is that
so by
wrong?
the time sisters have access to him, it's too late.
Oh, you're saying like white women do this?
Yes.
Well, let me say this, because like history is like my shit.
Speak to us.
White women view college as like Tinder. Like that's where you go. You don't go to get your education.
We need college.
You go to get a man. You go to get a man who's going to make the money so that you're good. So that's,
right. We need college. And at one point, white women needed college too, because everybody likes to say, why don't relationships last like they did in the 50s? Because you have a choice now. Because you can have a bank account.
Right.
Them niggas used to beat the shit out of their wives and there was nothing.
They had a whole family next door.
Right. So, and that's not to say white women only go to college for that, because I know somebody's going to watch this shit and get butthurt about it.
Well,
What I'm
no, I
saying to
mean
you
not
is,
only.
like, when I went to a D1 school my last year. I went to Oregon State. Okay, and they had this thing called the Black Student Union, which was foreign to me because I went to Tuskegee.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And this is where all the black people we never saw the athlete in there. The whole football team is Negroes. And I'm like, Negroes from like the Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they be in the club going dumb and shit, you know what I mean, listening to that gangster shit, but we don't never see them.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is because, yeah, they're busy. But two, why would they come fuck with us? Like, if you know one of them, you know one of them if you're a guy, but they don't come mess with our sisters because the white women are all over them. So it's from an access point where they're either boning the other white athletes, or B, dumb chicks are in the classes. Whereas your black ass better go to your major and make something of yourself because them student loans finna hit for real.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I understand that. And black women, what that manifests is our successful black men all have white women. So a quick way to internalize that, and society helps you, is that, oh, they never want us when they make it, or they use us till they make it, and then we're no longer good enough for them. And then there are some weak men who look at it and say, oh, I haven't made it till I get a white woman. You know what I mean? So I understand why black women look at people who are important to the culture, and the very next question is, does he date us? Has he married one of us? Because we want to build us. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we can't expect this man to make a political or cultural statement with his heart, because we don't know this woman. Now, if she fleeces him, nah, you got nigga. You got what you deserve.
I mean, shit. What? Michael B. Jordan was out with Lori Harvey like 2
finally
years ago.
And I laughed at this girl. I've argued with her in multiple groups, and she just constantly, see, he don't even like us. And she's also a gatekeeper of who's black and who's not, because if you're mixed, you're not. Yeah, but that's a whole other thing. So I routinely told her about herself, and then when he popped up with Lori from Facebook jail, I was like,
you childish.
She knows she is. But I hope she's watching this too. Yeah. But all that to say, it's like, I understand that we as a society don't gain anything by tearing anybody down. So if, like Miranda is saying, all his others, and I'm inclined to believe that, I don't want to say he gets off on it because it's clearly his business, but I don't think he does enough to ensure that he is perceived as a level playing ground, because perception is reality. Mm-hmm. I sympathize with not wanting to have to prove myself to people every time I say something, because fuck y'all. But at the same time, if this is my brand, that's part of the maintenance of the brand, is that you have to maintain the appearance that you are being fair. I don't think he does that. And I think he also creates a breeding ground for less than problematic ass niggas to use him. So it's kind of like the word females. When I was growing up, like 2000-ish, you know what I mean? Every time a dude wanted to make a point to a woman and not have her snap at him and to consider what he's saying before she did it, he would say females as an objective scientific term, where it was like, hey, I'm not saying I don't like women or women are wrestling. I just know that most females I know are prone to emotional outbursts, which is a problematic statement in 2020. But at the time, it's like, I'm not trying to insult you or any woman in particular.
I'm just saying my anecdotal evidence is this.
What that has become is that females has been warped into the new bitch, where niggas who really do mean to call you a bitch but don't want to get in trouble for calling you a bitch. Female. I'm tired of you females. Has the word females changed? No. But these niggas now use it, so that's how it's received. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what he's going to do, is that he gives these niggas a chance to use what might be a $1,000 worth of game, but cheapen it for their purposes. Kind of like a few years ago, people used to say queen because of the hoteps were saying queen and it was sweet. Mm. But now queen can almost be read as bitch. Nah, queen, you got it. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, queen, you whatever.
I mean, the nuances matter. For
like,
sure.
You know, I'm not calling you a queen, but I said queen, so you can't get mad. And that's what I don't like. That's when the that's when the substance is lost. Okay, so I do think he is problematic in that regard. I'm not going to tell people to go look at it. I'm not looking for quotables to use and shit like that. But I do think in a vacuum, he's going to give you the real. Now, you can go to him or you can go to Derek Jackson, who I also do not hate on, but he has clearly made a brand of telling y'all what y'all want to fucking hear.
I'm not really all that familiar with him. My knowledge of him is based on what black men have been like, look at this, you know.
You ain't never seen him?
I mean, I've seen him, but I don't involve myself in that because I don't see the point.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to see a black man win. He actually went to Tuskegee. And I think I made a video about one of my podcast episodes about the issues I have with him, but there's no issue with me and him. You know what I mean? I don't even think he knows who I am, which is cool. I don't care. But when you say that to women, they're like, oh, you just don't like it because he's telling you what a man is. I'm like, no, he's telling you what you think a man is. But you're hearing it from a big chocolate nigga who wears turtlenecks and has got muscles, so he must be legit. He's literally a walking smut novel from that, you know, right before you check out.
Why is he okay?
Not smut novel, because smut means like porn. But you know the little tawdry romance where the magical dude, them dudes. But yeah, man, like, so I think, like you said, kind of like what Obama is trying to say, but he's coming off like he's counterproductive to the cause, where like you can say this thing and I agree with you, but if you don't frame it a certain way, your message isn't going to get anywhere. And every creator has to determine how important that is to them. I don't think that's important to him at all.
Oh, I don't either.
Because one, he's more about his clients and getting paid, and two, the viral shit just brought more niggas to him. It was free advertising. Yeah. I don't think he cares about his professional or his viral image. You know what I mean? As long as he's getting paid off of it.
Yeah,
absolutely. I struggle with that because I don't like coddling people when I be digging in their ass on Facebook, but that's really a sign of respect. Because when I have to talk to you like a child, you become a child in my head. I don't like having to coddle black women because I don't think black women need to be coddled.
I mean, but you can be like, you can speak constructively too.
Which I try to bounce things off you. I'm like, now see, if I say this shit, I'm wrong, right? Like, but for every time I have made y'all raise your eyebrows, that was the safe edit. You didn't hear the other three. Like,
the first one is the worst.
Yeah. So I don't want that to be the narrative, and I hate that that's, you know, these hypoghetticals always come up as the state. It almost makes it look like this is all black men and black women have to offer each other whose side we're on. You know what I mean? I feel for Shorty. I hope the best for her. Like, she doesn't necessarily do it for me, but I'm a brokey, so I don't think I would do it for her. But at the same time, it's like
to get in her business, maybe you'll be fine.
I'm good. But I definitely think she's a catch. I hope the best for her. I hope she gets the man that she manifests, that she wants.
Seems very nice. She seems very pleasant.
To change up her tactics, because what's working to this point has not been working.
She needed to go different places.
Take his advice, which is not. I don't think he told you to go get plastic surgery, because don't. You know what I mean? But you need to put yourself in an environment to win. He may think that even if you surround yourself by these rich and famous niggas, that they're still not going to check for you. But that's for you to find out.
Right. You're not even in those circles to know.
You won't know until you get yourself in that circle. If that still doesn't work, then maybe you need to come back to the reality that he told you that you might want to go look elsewhere. But you might prosper. But what's not going to happen is nothing I'm going to tell you is make these niggas come to you.
I feel like she just needs to go into different circles. That's I think like a problem with women in general. Like, we just expect this magical man to like be at the door. Like, you have to, you know, like expand your
that meme that I laugh at. He's like, Shorty waiting for her Prince Charming, but she don't leave the house. Well, he's supposed to break in.
Yeah, like you have to like. I mean, if you're really looking for a 6-figure man, there's ways to find out where they are. Like, you
baller alert.
I mean, not even that, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like, come up there, come to the DMV, go to the federal stuff.
Where's Sugar Mama's at? Because I'm tired. I'm tired. You feel me? But like, I can't find them. Hold on. So I got a comment that says Kevin. That's the dude's name. Kevin had not the commenter, but the spicy capper.
Oh.
Kevin actually has a show with Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, a professor of African studies. He has had an influx of white and Latin women in his class looking to get black men in college. There you go. That's exactly what I said. They scout these niggas just like the NFL scouts do. He's upwardly mobile. Let me get in his class, flirt with him. And that way when he drafts, right after he gets drafted, we get, or I'm pregnant or something like that. Now,
I mean, we see it on the news. We see
it
on,
is
like,
predatory. But it's also putting yourself in a position to win, because I bet you if black women dominated that space where they were going, and I'm not telling sisters to do this. I'm not. And I'm not judging you if you do it. What I'm saying is, if that became a mission of black women to edge those white women out, to go to these schools, to hunt these dudes, to be in their classes, to be their athletic trainer, to, you know what I mean? And be with them on draft day, black women would not be mad. They would not be saying the shit that they say to these black women, to these white women. Oh, he got himself a white girl. She got him already. You know what I mean? Because it would be us. So it's clearly a thing. But to deflect from that, oh, these white women are coming after our men. And again, I don't say it's not happening, because a lot of these niggas get fleeced. A lot of these niggas get taken for a ride. But when a black woman does it, it's yes, sis, secure the bag. Yeah, so which one is it? What are you really mad at? Are you mad that this man is choosing white women, or are you mad that they played the game better than you?
Both.
So which one can you fix?
I don't have the answer, Sway. I don't know.
Play the game. Or no. Make them come to you. And that's where I'm at with it. But I'm just a broke nigga. Don't listen to me. All right, let's get off Duke, because we spent a good hour. Oh, that was spicy. Did you see that proposal where the dude, he kept trying to figure out how to surprise his shorty?
Yes, I did.
Do it. So he waited till she was asleep and put the ring on.
I thought that was perfect, except for the fact that he posted a picture of it. But like, if that would be how I want to be proposed to. Like, it's us. That would be cute. It just something with just us. I don't like I know a lot of women like these public displays, and they want to have the photographer, and that's just not my bag. But don't put no daggone picture of me sleeping. I don't care if I am wearing a ring.
Me, because I'm childish and petty, I thought that shit was perfect. I try to tell people I am a romantic, hopeless ass nigga. It's just y'all be forcing me to be Future. You know what I mean? But like, I like romance. You know what I mean? And I also like to be surprised. It don't got to be over the top. I mean, when I say surprise, I mean, don't pop in on me. I'm talking about innovation. When I see other people doing things that I never would have thought to do, I'd be like, that's a bar. You know what I mean? Like, so I like the fact that he did it from the it was new. I had never seen no nigga do no shit like this, and it was funny. But at the same time, let's go through execution, because there's a common theme that is going to determine this. What I don't like on the internet is, oh, that's trash, that's this, that's that.
Who said it was trash? People didn't like it.
Bitter chick. Oh, and you know what? That's rude to me, because a lot of them are bitter women who have never been proposed to, will never get proposed to, or the nigga who he did, they've been dating him 15 years of fiance, whatever.
People really didn't like, because I don't.
Go in the comments. Ain't even on mine. Oh, he better not. But a lot of it was just mild annoyance, like what you did. Don't post no picture. This is sweet. You know what I mean? Me, I thought the shit was romantic as fuck. But the common trope is you have to know your woman.
Yeah, for sure.
Point blank, period. It don't matter what kind of proposal it is. You have to know your woman. Even if it's just a simple, no frills, on my knee, asking you. A proposal is a request. So she could say no. Mm-hmm. So if you subscribe to and this is assuming you're doing this in good faith, not because you got caught cheating or doing some dumb shit and you don't want to lose her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're doing this in good faith, where you honestly have got to the point in your relationship where I want this person to be my forever. See, I'm romantic. Let
me say this, because I looked him up too. They met at the end of last year.
The end of last year, 2019.
Yeah. And he
Okay.
was like, they met at the end of last year and they started dating this year. And he's like, I think it was like maybe 2 or 3 months that he was like, this is the one for me. And he proposed to her.
That's sweet.
I thought that was nice.
And he black. That typically don't happen. White boys do that shit. But and you know what? There was a time where I would have done that. Unfortunately, the time was I was 16, but in my brain, I thought that's how that's supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying?
So you wouldn't do that now?
No, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it now. I'm saying I thought that's how it's supposed to happen, meaning that there was no other way. You know, you want to marry this girl or not.
Okay.
Now, if it happens, that chick is truly special, but it's probably not going to happen like that. Whereas I think my bubble stopped with that at like 16, 17. I got jaded to the world. I think white boys hold on to that till their mid-20s. You know what I mean? Especially the smaller the town. Oh, yeah, you can't count the military because them niggas are dumb. But the smaller the town there is, that's all niggas do. Is they can't wait to get married at 21, 22. And to their credit, a lot of them last.
Mm-hmm.
But in this age of the internet, where like it used to be, and again, men are visual creatures. I fully understand. You see how I have to keep qualifying myself? I fully understand that a woman is more than her looks. Okay? But looks catch our attention. When you were in high school, there were like 2 or 3 girls that the whole high school was like, damn, she fine.
Okay.
We also went to high school before Instagram. We thought baddies were rare. They are everywhere. And even if they're not, they're getting manufactured. Like literally, there's a factory.
True.
And then you're finding out baddies is relative. Because like a baddie in Kansas is not a baddie in LA. You know what I mean? Like
true.
So it's almost like stimulus overload. Now, I do think that a boy has to grow out and grow into a man and realize that this is great and it's not. If you're letting this because you can't choose because you're a kid in a candy store, that's exactly what you are. You're a kid. At some point, you got to realize that this is going to wear off. And not to say that she's going to get old or anything, but she can still be fine and you still can't stand her ass. You know what I mean? Like, so you need more than in a woman than just a pretty package.
Mm.
But every nigga has to come into that realization in his own time. You know what I'm saying? What I think happens, and it could be, there's plenty of reasons. It could be hip hop, movies, whatever. I think in our culture, that timeline of when that realization happens compared to where you are in life and who you're around doesn't match up in the opportune time to promote marriages. Ideally, what happened to you young like me, 16. So then when you go to college and you're around cute women, but you also see that they're trying to make something of themselves, hey, marry me real quick. You know what I mean? I don't think that really happens to who is trying to join my chat. Niggas is rude. I don't think I don't think that happens in time for us. I think it happens when niggas are 30,
got gray hair on their balls.
Right. And by then they want the young pretty thing. You know what I mean? Like, if for nothing else, because they might want a kid now. And then we went back to the whole, oh, you're too old to have a kid, which is bullshit. I mean, I'm not saying it's, but I think that's the source of a lot of the age gap disparities. And then you factor in the lack of people who matriculate college, the male to female ratio and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Whereas white boys, they hold on to that shit for like 25, 30. Like I meet, like even again, the military is a microcosm because you gonna marry who you're around. You know what I mean? In like 15 minutes. But it's always when I went to Oregon State my last year, and that's in a small town in Oregon called Corvallis. Most of the black people who went to big university in Oregon went to UO, which is in Eugene, about 40 minutes away. So that's kind of like more of it's not a city, but there's more happening there. In our little sleepy town, there were so many of my classmates who were married. They had been married for like a year or two. I'm like, we're juniors and seniors. What? Oh, that's my husband. He's in this class. I'm like, okay. And they make it. You know, like they have kids. They're still married to this day. But it's also a receptiveness. It's like we almost expect to go out and meet these chicks on Instagram at some point, or you know what I mean? Like, whereas
you definitely do.
And I have. You know what I mean? So it is. I found myself being guilty of that too, but at the same time, it's like I don't need an Instagram baddie. You know, I would like one, but if it's a headache, no, thank you.
One of my friends told me, he said, you know, it was a long drawn out conversation, but at the end result was I don't want a pretty bill.
Yes. Because that sounds like me. I ain't said it.
No.
That sounds like some of the shit I'm saying. That's definitely in my bag. But so like the proposal, right? He knew her and it was quick. Mm-hmm. But he knew that even though she probably don't want to be on the internet in her bonnet, mm-hmm. he also knows that she gonna look back and laugh at this shit. She not for real gonna be upset.
Right.
She's like, why the fuck you do that? Oh my God. It's gonna contribute to the overall overwhelming emotions, which is what you want. Mm-hmm. But you also want that to end positively. It's a proposal, meaning she can say no. So the other part of knowing your woman is no,
is she gonna say yes?
You, my nigga, like the fuck. You know what I mean? Now I do subscribe to when I was growing up, you know, the most grandiose proposals I would ever see is if I was out at like the Olive Garden or some shit in some random. And yes, niggas used to do because the Olive Garden used to be a fancy restaurant to plenty of people. You know what I mean? Like you would see them in public, everybody would clap. That was the extent of a grandiose proposal. Mm-hmm. Or maybe if you went to Disney World, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, niggas be doing the most for these proposals.
Yeah, they do.
And they be going viral. So now some women almost expect dudes to capture lightning in a bottle. And
yeah, they do.
Whereas others are like, don't be embarrassing me. And then there's the subplot of it could be manipulation. Because if there's pressure.
Jackpot.
Which I don't believe, which again goes to knowing your woman. You know what I mean? Like, but that goes into if you're doing this in good faith. There's plenty of niggas who know they're on the rocks in their relationship or she's just about to leave you. So let me do this over the top shit and keep her fiance for 10 years. Like, what's that? Jim Jones and
Chrissy.
What's her name? Chrissy. Yeah. I don't be on this reality shit.
You know enough.
Because of y'all. It be on my I'll be sharing this shit all day. Mm-hmm. Shout out Baller. But so that was the one thing. He knew his woman. Okay. What I hated was in the comments, oh, he doing that. How's she gonna say no now because she made it public? I'm like, yes, at face value, that would be trash in your relationship because that's how your nigga treats you. He knows his woman. Like, why can't y'all just be happy? Like, why is people's instinct not to just be happy for people?
Because they don't have it.
Hurt people. And then everybody was saying it was staged because her nails were done. When for the last 5 years, y'all have been drilling into our head, don't propose to me unless my nails are done.
What? One of my friends got proposed to last year. And I was like the person who helped her, like, hey girl, go get your nails done, get ready, blah, blah, blah. Like, maybe some of her friends knew. Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the tricky part. Like, so my brother-in-law is white. And he did the whole come down, ask my parents for blessing and everything like that. And we knew what he was going to do. But my sister's a girly girl, but she's also a tomboy. Like, she literally does both. Mm-hmm. She's not the most upkeepy person, but when she does go to upkeep, she knows how to do it. She don't need like a makeover or anything like that. Right. Because of her job at the time, she was like a coordinator of a gymnastics camp. She doesn't get her nails done. And if she does, it's just like some basic shit. So he was trying to figure out a way to get her nails done without, because my sister's suspicious of everything. Like, you can say good morning to her, she's like, you don't say good morning, nigga. Sus. You know what I mean? Like, so I forget what he did to actually do it. You know what I mean? But y'all are hard. Difficult. And we can make the argument of whether it should be like that or not, but sometimes it's fucking unnecessary. So I give him props that I would never, as childish as I am, I would have never have thought to ambush this girl in her sleep. Second of all, it's on a Tyler Perry movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't watch.
It's on the. Is it on the first one? I want to say it's on like the first or second Tyler Perry movie, like one of the dudes, she goes to sleep and she wakes up and she goes into the bathroom and she's like, "Oh, what is this? Oh my gosh, it's a ring." And he's standing there like, "So, do you wanna?"
Shout out Tyler Perry. I don't watch Tyler Perry movies because I tried and no, but that's the point is I never would have thought of that, and I appreciate that because I'm a romantical nigga. Okay, like so. Yeah, I wish him the best. I think that was dope. But how people were just tearing it apart, I think it comes out. You have to know your woman, how she gonna react, if she wants to marry your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if the answer is no, you
Then
need to
why are
think
you
about
doing it?
not only don't do it this way, but maybe
Don't do it
fix
at all.
your relationship to the point where she wants to say yes.
Right.
But to the niggas who try to use these grandiose things as a manipulation tactic, because I don't think the first dudes who wanted the world to know they love this woman. At least that's what I try to believe. Because I'm not a jaded, you know what I mean. But it is that just like females, just like anything else that works with women, the fuckboys will weaponize it because that's what they do.
Yeah, it's happened to me.
Really?
Mind your business though. Next topic.
Oh, damn. Almost got it out of her. Next time. Okay. All right. So yeah, I thought it was sweet. I thought it was.
I did too.
I put it, or at least elements of it, into my bag. Should some woman ever con me to signing over half of my shit, but whatever.
Oh my gosh.
Once I get some shit to sign over. Anyway. So there was another tizzy in the internet. There's a lot going on in the last 4 days since I dropped my last podcast. I meant to talk about this one before, but I knew I was going to have you on, so I wanted to have some male, female relevant stuff.
Okay.
So Twister of Chicago rapper fame posted a meme that he did not create because I'd seen it before he did it. But Twister's platform is larger than mine, so he posted a meme where it was like a side by side. Hold on, I got it. I think I sent it to you, but hold on.
Gabby Sidibe and Bernice Burgos.
Yes, Bernice, fine grandma ass. And he had them next to each other, and he says basically to men, which one would you choose? And on Gabby's, it had all of the positive shit that you would want in a woman. And Gabby's picture. And I think it was like a picture from Precious. I don't even think it was like a recent.
No, it was just a random picture of her.
Oh, okay. And then you have Bernice looking Bernicious, and it had every toxic trope dealing with the nigga,
she got 4 kids, she couch surfing, she ain't got no car, she ain't got no job.
But that ass though. Blah. You know what I mean? Like, and of course, the obvious toxicity, okay, of this shit. When I see shit like this, I laugh because I don't take it seriously. But that is also a luxury that I have because I am not a woman whose existence has been reduced to do men want me. You know what I'm saying? So I recognize my male privilege that I can laugh at this because this is not my issue. And number 2, I recognize I don't look at women like this.
Okay, so I am a fat black woman.
You ain't fat.
And I said what I said. I said what I said. So I'm a fat black woman, and I just like it's cap. Like niggas act like they don't be knocking down fat bitches. Fat bitches stay with niggas. And I
this is also true
because I don't know their names individually.
But okay, let me get this because you are a thicker woman and you are pretty as hell. Thank you find this is kind of getting back to what my homeboy shout out Antonio said. He hates when fine women act like, or the ugly women act like they have the same problems as fine women. So this is not me pitting you against Gabby. This is me replacing Bernice with you. And let's say neither one of you are famous, like nobody knows who Gabby Sidibe is. And let's say that this meme is posted in a forum where the men there are quite partial to larger women. Okay, so we've ignored the Instagram model versus regular woman trope. You know what I mean? The toxic trait versus the non-toxic trait. Now it just comes down to physical. And I guess I can't really delete the colorism thing because you're light skinned. But let's just erase that, okay? Do you find that women who other thicker women who look like Gabby have an issue where they might get men all the time, but the men don't want it known that they're messing with, versus niggas will be in your comments commenting like y'all talk, and you be like, can you not?
Well, I mean, I as a fat Black woman, I do have privilege within that fat community because of the way that my body is shaped. And
you are still curvy.
Yes.
Okay.
I got an hourglass shape. It's just some extra minutes in the bitch. So you
can put that shit on a shirt. Go ahead, continue.
But so there is privilege that I have within that wheelhouse. But from what I saw, most of the men who were responding to that weren't commenting on the way that Gabby looked face-wise. They were only commenting on her body.
Facts.
And so, but again, like I know other fat women who aren't shaped like me, who have a different body shape, and they still get niggas too. Like it's capped. Like there is so many, and that goes to like somebody was talking about on my page, like men influence how men respond to things because of patriarchy.
True. That is true.
And so they might say, "Oh yeah, I would never." But meanwhile, you're like, "Hey, what's up?"
Okay. Now, at the risk of sounding totally scumbaggy, this is what I've experienced as a man. Okay. You're right. Niggas will get with larger women. I want to say most of them, but sometimes it's like they actually prefer larger women, but they're scared we gonna clown them.
Mm-hmm.
And we will.
Mm-hmm.
Until we find out, no, nigga, that's what he likes, and he went and shot it and got what he wanted. Mm-hmm. You can't hate on a nigga like that. At least not past high school. You know what I mean? Because he's like, that's his type of woman, but she cute. You know what I mean? Like that's what he likes. Get what you want, nigga.
Right.
A nigga might get off a joke every now, but it's like there's still respect there because, like, okay,
that's
he's
true.
living his truth.
Yeah.
Then you have the niggas who would never date this woman in public, but because they're going through a dry spell, they can't get the woman they want to date, or they're just horny, or it's a fetish. They're fetishized. They're paying her attention, smashing or whatever, but they don't want nobody to know that shit because they don't even want to know the shit. It's more of a desperation thing. You know what I mean?
That's definitely a thing.
Which is trash. And I don't like that, not only because if it's two consenting adults, then whatever, but not only are you opening up for men to slander her when she is giving you the gift of vagina, but even other women will hate on her like, he don't claim you just, you easy. You know what I mean? And that drives, I'm not for the division between, like, sisters already got it bad enough. We don't need
more
them at each other. Like, I promise you, I'm not that dude who's constantly trying to pit women against each other. I've walked away from cooch because I know
that about you.
No, I'm just like, for people, I get accused of all kinds of shit, man. I hate women. So I have walked away from what I perceived, because I wouldn't know until I went to go get it, from what I perceived to be baggable women. Like it was just a matter of me to go get. But I knew, or at least I thought, what was going to happen between these two sets of friends, or what I know she don't like her, and and I don't like being in the middle of that shit. You know what I mean? So I'm not with that. But I never once doubted that, because there are larger women I find attractive. I told you, I don't have a fucking type, and it's inconvenient as fuck. Because when you don't have a type, you like everything, so you can't focus. You know what I mean? Like it's fucking annoying. But then there's also comes the logistics, where it's like, because I've dabbled. I'll just leave it at that. But logistically, there's other considerations that you don't necessarily have with women of other builds. And I'm not flexible. So it can create problems. Does that make sense? You get what I'm getting? You picking up what I'm putting down? Yeah, it's a lot. But that doesn't mean that I find you any less attractive. It just means that I can't do no with you. And maybe that's my fault. That's fine. I'll internalize that. You know what I mean? But because I say that, and then I'll comment on somebody like, say, Lizzo, who be wilding, it comes off as kind of like what the dude said to that girl. Oh, he called her average. He must hate women. If I tell Lizzo about herself, I must hate fat women.
Right.
And I have gone to 2 Lizzo concerts. Well, 1.5, because one was at a music festival for Made in America. She was performing. And then I had a friend of mine who had an extra Lizzo ticket, and I bought it from her, and I wanted to go because I wanted to check her out. I appreciate her music. It's not necessarily for me. Yeah. Like I like that murder shit, but I wanted to support it because I appreciated who she was as an artist. I did not realize that her target demographic is not us.
No,
I just assumed it was for us.
Not at all.
The truth hurts. But when I went there, the truth was that we were the minority. There were a lot of white people, white women, larger white women.
And I have a problem with that.
Which is cool. Get your money.
I have a problem with that.
You have a problem?
Not from her standpoint, just like, and it's kind of like what she had the whole thing with the detox smoothie thing this week.
Oh yes, that's what I brought it up.
So, like the white women were in her comments and Twitter and everything, like going bananas that she was doing this detox because they felt like she didn't want to be fat anymore. Right. And so because you don't want to be fat anymore, who the fuck am I going to look up to because I'm fat?
When this whole time, if you believed in what she said, you'd be looking up to yourself by now.
And it's like the body, that's a problem that I have with like the whole body positivity movement. Like you can like, a lot of it is like, okay, well, you have to like your body as it is now and you can't want nothing else for it.
Right.
Period. And I don't like that. And it seems like that's what they have, her target demographic have pigeonholed her into. It's like, well, you got to be the fat black bitch that makes us dance.
Right. Never mind if she wants to grow as a person. Never mind, her body grow as a person and do something else. And then 2, we don't know what her health issues are. Okay. She could have a clean bill of health, but she could also be dealing with some shit. You know what I mean? Because she wants to be healthy. It doesn't have to just be about her aesthetic.
I mean, and she said like she had she felt off, like her body felt off to her. So she did this detox. And they were like, oh, she's promoting detoxes. And it's like, well, it's not the flat tummy teas that's like laxatives.
Those lying ass bitches.
It's not that she's eating fruits and vegetables that she blended up. And like, what is the problem?
I lost 35 pounds in less than 2 months by not eating bullshit. I have not lifted a weight in over a year. I tried to run and I lost. Well, I won't say lost because they walked away, but somebody took my earbuds. So I've been slacking on my calisthenics, if you will. But I still lost hella weight just by changing my foot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So my whole thing was Lizzo. Lizzo is a large girl. I'm not talking about just like big. Like she's my height, might even be a little bit taller.
Yeah, she's tall. Yeah.
But she's a big girl. I've been no less than 10 feet away from her. All right. And yet I won't say she's athletic because that paints a certain image. But for somebody of that mass, she can move. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cardio wise, I don't think she could keep it up forever, but who can? You know what I mean? Like I don't need her to be a NFL lineman. But my thing is, because of that, I've gotten labeled. There's 2 people in particular who I also won't say their name, but they might be watching. This is me looking at you. Who have dubbed me Lizzo haters. Okay? Because one of them has gotten a little larger herself since the time that I've known her. So I think, this is me guessing, she identifies with Lizzo being body positive because her body's changed. And she's either decided that she can't do anything about it or she doesn't want to do anything about it. I don't know. I didn't get it. But what I have noticed is every time I mention Lizzo, she comes on my page or my comments. Why are you hating on Lizzo? This, that, and that. I'm like, it's not hate. Like, and I'll bring up this shit. Not her. I shared her. She did like a sports. I don't know if it was a Sports Illustrated. It was some swimsuit shoot, but she looked good. And this was after she did the whole ass out at the basketball game. I called her out for doing the ass out at the basketball game. I called her out for some other shit. You're just a hater. You don't like to see fat women flourish. I'm like,
as a fat woman, can I just go on the record and say that outfit was trash? Not like whatever venue it would have been in, the outfit was ugly. That's
and
my
I've
opinion.
seen her dress,
and because I'm in the community, I could say that.
Right. If I say that, I'm hating them. I'm like, do y'all not know that I'm fat now? I mean, I'm not like fat, but I'm me fat. Like I'm built like one of the worms from MIB right now. Once you go worm, that's what you But I don't have abs no more, so I'm gooey. The point is, that's not where I come from. Her, I think fat jokes are low hanging fruit. I'm not beyond making them, but if I'm making a fat jokes on someone, I'm actually ready to fight you, and this is all I have. You know what I'm saying? There's so much more to clown you about.
Do fat people get offended? Because I don't know any fat people that get offended by fat jokes. It's like
that's where I'm getting at with what she said, because she revealed that she also, what you said, her body felt off, but she also felt insecure not liking her body. So in the argument, in the roast session, in the comment section, you might not in that moment get offended. Like my fat joke might bounce off of you. that was fucked up. It might bounce off of you, okay? Mm-hmm. But when you're alone in your room, sometimes you stare at the wall, and in the back of your mind, I said you like hog maws. That was a freestyle. Bars. The point is, it hits later, and which is why I don't like bullying people, because you think it's just joking right now. You don't know how they're going to internalize this shit when they're alone, when there's nobody there. And I don't ever want to be the reason that somebody did something to themselves, or you know what I mean?
True.
So I am kind of, but at the same time, you're not about to disrespect me. So I give what I get. Just a little bit more, because
you need to stay in your light. You don't need to give what you get. Stay in your light.
My man just shared a post. He was like, being the bigger person never paid off for anybody. Flame.
That's not true. I disagree.
But yeah, so that's my thing. It's like she's admitted to the insecurity because not only because of the energy and the health, she physically does not like how she looks for whatever reason. Okay. And they're hers. But the people who she either sold this facade of confidence or had it before and used her as a citation feel betrayed. You know what I'm saying? And I have an issue with that. It's kind of like, did you know that there's like a community of deaf people who hate when deaf people get the cochlear implants or the surgeries because they feel like they're betraying the deaf gang, basically. Like, we're not disabled, we're special, we have our own society, and you were doing that just to be normal. When whole time to us, it's like, I just want to hear, fam.
Can I do that? Is that okay?
I didn't know it. There's a whole thing. I saw it for the first time on like an episode of Law and Order SVU, and they rip shit from the headlines. But then I went, you know how the algorithms will know what you're looking at and then will show you. There's a whole society of that where they look down on you. Oh, you a sellout to the deaf community by getting the implants or the surgeries and shit like that.
I did not know that.
I did not know. I never would have guessed. Like, what?
Why? That's so crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really go into it. So I get that there might be some of that same dynamic going on with Lizzo fans feeling like she's betraying the brand and everything like that. My whole thing is, if you like it, I love it. But just like that dude, Kevin, will say an ounce of truth, and fuckboys will use it, manipulate it. Don't use your self-confidence in yourself to excuse your fucktastic behavior. And we just gotta like it because this is just you being large and in charge and living your truth. No, I would call other people out for this. And if, like for my whole thing with the ass cheeks, if Rihanna had done this, the exact same outfit, would I have the same reaction? No.
Well, that's trash.
For two reasons. It's kind of trash, but here's the thing. It's fucking Rihanna. Now, what that means is Rihanna is appealing to a wider variety of people. So for her to do it in a venue where a lot of people who already like Rihanna see it, there's little to no risk. If she had done this at like I don't know if there's like that sounds so terrible. Like, is there like a gathering or like some kind of festival where like larger people like to go, or the people who like larger women go to, like a con or something like that? Like a
what the fuck?
I don't know. It's like I don't know how to explain it.
I mean, maybe
But let's say one of those existed. If Lizzo had done this there, then she would have been celebrated because her people were here for that. But I know Lizzo fans, of which I consider myself one. I think she's musically talented. I'm like, bitch, are you serious right now? And then you sitting your bare ass on the seats because those seats that's packed. That's not me being funny. They packed. You got bare ass skin on them Laker seats. Now, granted, they're very exclusive floor seats that I would never get anyway. But the point is,
they don't clean them.
Don't
like that.
No, even the private ones.
They don't clean them like that.
Now, I don't think Robin Fenty would do that, but at the same time, if she did, I wouldn't care. She's Robin to me.
I'm not saying anything.
So yes, it was some attraction. There was some attraction bias to it. But like, if I don't have abs and I go up to a Chippendales crowd and go dance and people get mad at me, okay, I went to a place where chicks came to see niggas with abs.
I mean, look, dad bods are in now. You should go try it.
That's a lie. I had to find that shit the fuck. Dad bod. Let me tell y'all something. Okay.
Oh, you done got very serious.
Crazy. Women like dad bods on niggas that have made them moms. Not wild lions like me. Y'all like dad bods on either your man or another man that you want already, because in your mind subconsciously with that dad bod, he's over trying to be a young lion. I won't say he's easier, but he's tamer.
They're not.
Plot twist, they're not. It's just like the cute girl who gets with the ugly nigga thinking that he's gonna be grateful.
They're not.
And then he's not. And he start acting like you the ugly one.
That's the worst. Ladies, don't lower your standards to a dude who you really don't want to date just because you lonely. Because when that nigga play you, you gonna be so
much worse than if the fly guy played you. It's so much. And I know that firsthand because I've told you my stories about getting stood up and shit. And then when I show you the pictures, I know you didn't say it, but I know the look on your face is like, why are you talking to this bitch?
That is not true.
So I'm not shallow, but there are girls who I otherwise, if it was pure attraction, I wouldn't look at them twice. Like pure physical attraction, I wouldn't look at them twice. You know, I wouldn't pay them no mind. But I'm like, I saw something that caught my eye, like we have the same interests, or she made a joke, something like that. Person, I was like, oh, let's kick it. And the disrespect. And I laugh at it because I don't take myself too seriously. Like, how dare you disrespect me? But at the same time, I'm genuinely confused. I'm like, okay, maybe I gave her a creeper vibe. Maybe I made her feel unsafe. Maybe her baby daddy wanted to work it out. Like, what the fuck happened here? Because I know you. But then I also realized that some of these chicks probably got done wrong by a nigga that looked just like me, and this might be them taking their power back. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm guessing because I'll never know. Because I don't go ask them, like, why did you stand me up? Because I think that's pathetic.
I mean, I wouldn't stand up anyone, but if I was to stand up someone,
I would never do that to anybody.
If I was to stand up somebody and they were like, well, why did you stand me up? I'd be like, just take it.
So we wouldn't have to have this conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
take it and go, please.
Right. But the crazy thing is, it's like they came to me in the first place. Like, it'd be one thing if I asked you out and you down and didn't want to in a moment, but you were scared to say no. You agreed to it, and then you stood me up because that was your escape.
There's a thing is the buyer's remorse. We buy stuff all the time and be like, get it home and be like,
but you didn't even get me home yet.
Sometimes it'd be in the car. Like, you know what? I really didn't need this. I really
Which
didn't
is
want
fine.
this.
Like at the end of the day, okay. But I was just like, this never happened to me before. Like ever. And then for it to happen, like I imagine that if this had ever happened to me, how fine she would have to be for me to tolerate or put up with this or to understand it. And this wasn't it. It wasn't it at all. You know?
Not nice.
So what I say is, but people do this shit all the time. You let attractive people, or at least people you find attractive, because there's classically attractive where a wide variety of people will find you at least a very base level of 7 or higher, and then there's attractive to you. Rihanna is both, where she has a lot of people that see her as an 8 and up, and then she's bad to us individually. You know what I mean? Like,
okay,
Lizzo,
yeah,
not so
true.
much. Not saying that Lizzo's not a dime piece to someone, to a lot of someone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But they were not watching that game.
Right. I mean, right.
That's all I'm saying. So that's why I would look at it different. And Rihanna's got a lingerie brand, so that would kind of make sense. Like even if I was like let's say Rihanna's my girlfriend, that's still not even a good example because I'm gonna let I hate that word let because we're gonna get to that about the thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind if me dating Rihanna wouldn't change my opinion if she had done it. You know what I mean? Because you don't get a baddie and then tell her not to be a baddie.
Yes.
Like, I don't understand niggas who do that shit.
Yes,
Like,
I tell men that all the time. If you cannot handle dating a baddie, don't date one.
Like if I want my girl to snap next, go forth. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't get that. But from the meme, you know, I don't like the whole. And Twista, to his credit, kind of apologized. I think he apologized as best of his ability because I don't think he truly understands what he did or care what he did so much as he was just like, hey man, I ain't want no smoke. I just shared a meme I saw on the internet.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's very much that.
But
very that.
with the platform that he has, you know what I mean? There's some responsibility in that. And then two, you got to be cognizant that this while to some of us it's a high, like to me, I just laughed it off because I also recognize there are many women looking at this like, you see, it don't matter what we do if we're not an Instagram baddie. You know what I mean?
I mean, I hate these. First of all, there's these types of memes or whatever that are center around men. Like they're for the women. Like, which one would you choose? It's this very attractive man who ain't shit, or this maybe not so attractive man who has all the things that you say you want.
Liar.
And all the women be like, oh, I want guy A because he's probably sweet and it's like, you're a fucking liar. You're not going to choose him. You're going to choose the guy that you're attracted to, and that's okay. It's okay to choose the person that you're attracted to because that's how you know if you want to get to know someone.
Right.
You meet someone with your eyes, and do they entice you in any way? That's okay.
I will say though, as a gender, women, I'm not going to get into the whole cis or female or what's the other word? Cisgender women, whatever. Women are more prone to actually seriously entertaining a mate that is not physically attracted to them than men are.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
for whatever reason,
I say this as a completely like heterosexual cis woman. Like dudes for the most part they're not like hot. They're not
right, and that's why women will like other women and not be gay because y'all look better than us. And then when there's times that you do have an absurdly pretty man, it's a polar reaction. Either he's, oh my god, he's so pretty, I need him. Like, he's too fucking pretty. Get him the fuck out of here.
Usually mine is the latter. It's like, I do not want no pretty man. That's just right. I know some women who are like, I like pretty men. That's what I want. That's my type. I'm like, girl, I am the picture. He is the frame. Nobody goes to the museum for the frames, honey. I'm the star of the show.
Oh man. So I get that. and that's where I also kind of get into my bed where I'm not a shallow person. I've dated women who, like, I showed you pictures of girls who I entertain, and you're like, I never would have thought that you went for this. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's just, well, we never actually met, so I think the only real barometer you can do is off of other cues you might know, or the girls that be on my friends list commenting.
I mean, just comparison. You know, like where you would fall on a scale of 1 to 10, where they fall on a scale of 1 to 10. It isn't always comparable.
So that's why I get annoyed when, it's gonna sound so terrible, but it's true. And I can thank that little reface app. When there is a girl who, if I was a girl, I would look better than her, be trying to play me. Okay. And the only reason I know what that is because my sisters have my whole face. So if I can objectively say that my sister looks better than you, and you are being real disrespectful right now, I'm a prettier man than you are a pretty girl. Cut that shit out.
Everyone is entitled to act however they want to.
I don't say it because you should be able to act in your truth. You know what I mean? But to be fair, you would put up with a lot more from a nigga that you are truly attracted to than a nigga that was on thin ice anyway. Like, there was a personality higher.
Yeah, other women, definitely.
Yeah, and we do the same thing. I think men are dumber when it comes to pretty women versus women with pretty men.
Yeah, definitely.
But the flip side of that is women are dumber with men who sell them an image, not the actual physical, but sell them it, than men do. There's a meme where, like, it's like a brain and like somebody's like licking it like all sensual and it's like stimulating my mind. And then the caption was like, women will post this shit and then go fuck a nigga who has to use his finger to read out loud. And it's true.
Yeah, it is.
Like, chicks be all in my comments, you're so funny, you're so smart, you must have hoes. I'm like, no, because y'all are too busy in my inbox telling me how I got hoes. And then y'all gonna fuck a nigga who like
I want to know why women do that, because I don't know any women that do that.
I've shown you they exist.
I don't know any personally on a personal
I've
level.
shown you they exist though. Like, this is not me pulling this out of my ass. You've seen the screenshots.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
I just want to know why. Like, you are saying he has hoes because you think he's attractive.
That's what I hear. So, oh, you got hoes, so you want to fuck me? That's what you're saying. Because you wouldn't assume another woman wants to fuck me if you yourself didn't want to fuck me.
Yeah.
So can we start there? Or are we still talking about these hypothetical goals? What are we doing?
That you don't even have.
Allegedly. Yeah. So I don't know. Y'all stressful. And that's why I laugh at all these if I had a dick for a day, or what I would do, I'd go get a suck. You would not. You would sit there dry. Because y'all fucking difficult.
We're the gatekeepers.
Exactly.
Which is so crazy, because supply and demand is more supply.
You saying what I say and get cussed out for?
It's more supply of vagine than it is anything else.
Do I think he who findeth a wife find a good thing? Absolutely. Do I think that your mate should be the prize to you? Absolutely. Does that mean that you aren't the prize to them? Fuck you. I don't need that. I seen no means where for the relationship to work, he gotta like you more than him. And I say that's true if you're trying to make it work with the wrong nigga.
I agree. It ends up being a toxic situation. Been there too.
Because the relationships oftentimes are only in jeopardy when the woman is unhappy. So in that dynamic, that's what that means. For him to have to like you more means that, because if he doesn't like you more, you can't threaten to leave him. Because he already, you know what I'm saying?
That's true. Very true.
So yes, for those type of relationships where your leverage is cutting him off from the palms, or I'll take half your shit and bounce if you don't act right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You done said half my shit, half his shit like 6 times.
It happens. And that's why, like, as toxic it is, when them niggas like Adele's ex come up It's gotta even the scales, because for every one of him, it's 1,000 niggas who didn't go that way. So I recognize that they're trash, but so the fuck what? Secure the bag, bro, because that's what they'll be. Petty, yes. I don't care. I'm a flawed individual.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I do agree that we can't be putting women against each other and implying that women don't have value just because they don't look like Bernice Burgos.
And shit, Gabby has a ring.
Right.
She's engaged.
Gabby's a millionaire. I forgot what I was reading. I think she's like an investor or some shit, or she's been getting into production credits of shows. So Gabby is absolutely a catch, whether or not you find her attractive.
And her fiance treats her like, from what I mean, obviously I don't know her.
Is it a white boy?
Huh?
Is it a white boy?
He treats her phenomenally from what I see online.
Which is all you can ask for. But you know what's funny though? You don't hear no men talking about, oh, she had to go marry a white boy.
Yeah, because they're not generally attracted to her.
But had this been Hallie, it was Hallie at one point. Or,
it was Serena, and they talk shit about Serena.
Like Serena didn't try to date Common, Drake. I don't know if she got with Jamie Foxx. I just remember that tennis ball skit at the SB. That shit was.
But they talk shit about her. They was like, she looked manly, she looked like a horse, blah 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 blah. As soon as she went and got a white dude, they was like, oh, how did we lose this? Oh, right. She's a Negro bedwench. Like, what?
I've loved Serena since I found out who they were. You know what I mean? Like niggas, like, she looked like a horse. I'm like, Alexa, play Lil Nas X. I'll take my horse. That's not a compliment. But the point is, no, like, I don't understand niggas. And I do my best to call trash ass niggas out. But for some reason, I only get remembered when I be holding sisters to test. And if I didn't love y'all, I wouldn't do it. Y'all don't hear me crying about white women.
Is it 50-50 though?
I post what is trending at the time. So I'm going to say no, because society is unfair against women, particularly black women. So I can see that. However, I'm going with what is I'm not manufacturing the wave. You know what I'm saying? And when I get a chance to get in our ass, I be challenging niggas to fight. I be risking my own personal safety. What do y'all want from me?
We don't want you to fight.
I do. No. But the point is, I do that with that same energy against them and don't give y'all none of that energy. But somehow I'm unfair. And I get it. Like, it can, when you hear it from somebody like me who people tell me I have a platform, and I guess I do, but it's nowhere near like a massive one, you know what I mean? But with the platform comes some responsibility. I have a genuine interest in making sure that sisters know that I am for us. So that means I am for you. But
he really is. He really, really is.
It doesn't mean
I'll co-sign that for you.
But just because I'm for you don't mean I'm just gonna let you. It's like, y'all know that dude who's 35, who wants to be a rapper, who got no bars, and his friends won't tell him that he needs to stop this.
Do we? I don't think we run in those circles anymore.
Well, I know they exist only because people. I don't have no friends like that, but people who I know, they have friends. They send me there. I'm like, he's got 2,000 people following him, 0 comments on these videos, and he posts the same one over again. And then finally, if you go back, somebody said, "Oh yeah, this is it." I'm like, yeah, you don't have a friend in the world.
Not even your family. And
there's 2,000 of these people.
Sad.
And I'm like, so that's not love. I wouldn't love y'all if I didn't tell, because I want y'all to be better, because I know y'all can be better. I'm not saying that y'all are slacking and need to pick it up. I'm just saying that this ain't it, Mom. And
there's some opportunities.
Huh?
There's some opportunities.
Yeah. So I try to work. I try to skirt that line between making sure the message is received with love that it's intended with, but also not sugarcoating it, because when people sugarcoat shit to me, I feel like you're patronizing me. No, give me the real and let me decide if I need to hit you or not.
So you communicate whatever it is that you want to communicate for that day, that week, that month, whatever, in the same way that you want to be communicated to.
Exactly.
Do
Oh,
you
by the
think
way,
that is effective?
commenter said she can get it. That's it. That's the post.
Okay. So back to what I was saying. Do you think that that is efficient or constructive, that you present things in the way that you want to have it presented to you?
Do I think it's efficient? No. I think it's pure. And I've had that conversation, and I've had to ask myself, what is more important to me? Authenticity, where what I'm saying is going to be timeless and won't age badly, where a few years from now, oh, he's so toxic. You know what I mean? Or trying to smooth it over to the point where I've diluted what I said.
But you do realize, like, that before you get to that, there's like a mid-range of being authentically effective.
There is. And I think that's the hard part of any kind of content creator, of staying true to it, but making it palatable.
Okay.
And I think I wouldn't say, for lack of a better word, a cop out. I said, okay, I know I'm going to avoid one by doing all the way the other. And perhaps I've gotten to the point where, okay, that's borne all the fruit that it's going to. If I want to take the next step, I need to figure out a way to appeal to the people that to this point I have perhaps pissed off.
Okay, so maybe whereas you're giving opportunities for a lot of women and men, but the opportunities that are being presented for women are being perceived in a certain way, maybe that's an opportunity for you.
Indeed.
Put it on your list.
You can write that shit down. But yeah, so that's on Gabby. We did that one. The white girl at Spelman.
Oh, I have stats for this one.
Oh, shoot then.
Okay, let me get out my paper. So I did some research. Okay, so first of all, the whole uproar about it, I just wanted to know why. Like, why is it imperative that you are going to this institution? But because of this post, I wanted to know more about non-Black people going to HBCUs.
Where did you go?
I went to BCU, which is a PWI. So as of 2015, apparently 22% of HBCU enrollment was among racial or ethnic groups that are not Black. There's actually some HBCUs apparently in some areas where the enrollment is mostly predominantly white.
Yeah, up in West Virginia, because
right.
But that's not because of the school. They rezoned some shit for how they get the money, and that's why they have to go there. They closed another school, so that's where they went.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because it was, both of them were in like West Virginia. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah, there's a reason, because there's nobody lives out there.
But from 2010 to 2017, non-Black enrollment grew at HBCUs by 17%. And actually, Black enrollment fell, I think it was by like 9% in the same time frame. What else? I saw a article from 2013 that kind of validated my thought process of like why. There was, and both of these girls went to Howard. They're both white. One was named Alyssa Paddock, and one was Jillian Parker. And Alyssa Paddock gave the reasoning for her wanting to go to HBCU because it gave her a chance to feel like a minority. And Jillian Parker stated one of her reasonings for going to HBCU was you get notoriety for being different. And I found that very concerning, because I just want to know, like, what is the purpose of what are you attempting to gain from going to an HBCU? And it's like, are you then trying to, affect the diversity there, because then you get the scholarship because you're the minority in that situation, so then you're taking money away from deserving Black students? Mm-hmm. Or are you going because you want to be a culture vulture? Are you going because you want to be an ally? And if you are going because you want to be an ally, then what are you hoping to gain in order to further you being an ally? Like, I just don't understand.
Right. And not only what are you hoping to gain, what are you intending to bring? Because, You know what I mean? Now, so for the one who says for the notoriety, that's clear. clout chasing, so I don't see any way to redeem that. And in case you didn't know, I went to Tuskegee, which is an HBCU. We did have a couple white people there. Most of the white people that went to Tuskegee, you never saw because they were in our vet school, the veterinary medicine school. It's the number one veterinary medicine school in the country. So people from other, fight to get into Tuskegee's vet school.
Okay.
The other white people who were actually at our school were animal science majors, like this dude named Justin. He was pretty cool. And that's about it. Oh, there was another one. She was an aerospace engineer. She was in ROTC with me.
Okay.
But other than that, you really didn't see them in the undergrad level. Okay. So the second statement where it was like, I wanted to know what it felt like to be a minority. It's a very loaded statement because it can go either way. It can be like, oh, I want to wear this experience just to say, I know, you know what I mean? Or I truly want to empathize with an experience that there's no way for me to get unless I'm here. Okay. I think that's hard to articulate anyway, especially if it was on an Instagram caption. You get like how many, you know what I mean?
Right.
Might have been better served by a video. It might have been better served by you just experiencing it and not making that a focal point. You know what I mean? But at the face value, it's like we say that all the time. Like, there's a quote from Dr. King where he says, I fear that I may have integrated my people into a burning ship or sinking ship. The ship is in problem. You know what I mean? Like where I thought integration was a necessity, the means for our people forward. But now I've seen that with the burnings of Black Wall Street and everything, that we don't have anything that is ours anymore. And then this has become post-racial America when it's anything but.
Right.
Okay. So I see that as a risk. But at the same time, how many white people have you been around who just don't know what a black person is beyond what TV told them, beyond what the news told them, beyond what rap music told them? You know what I mean? Like, I grew up in PG County, Maryland, and I thought this is how the country is. There's black people every fucking where. You know what I mean? Then I went to Georgia. There's still plenty of black people. There's more white people, but there's still plenty of black people. It wasn't until I got to Tuskegee, Alabama, and not so much Tuskegee, but everywhere around Tuskegee, where we are scarce. You know what I mean? And then I did my final year at Oregon, and black people are rare. And I've never got racially slurred until I went to Oregon. And mind you, I've seen literal Klansmen in Alabama. Okay? I've seen Bamas with trucks, with the pickup truck, with the rebel flag in the window and the gun rack, and wearing overalls with no t-shirt and drawers underneath. I assume they didn't have no drawers because they just looked unkempt.
He was going,
but,
okay.
You know what I'm talking about with the overalls.
I live in Richmond.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Like,
so
in just bare overalls on bare skin. You know what I mean? It wasn't until I went to Oregon where somebody called me a nigger. And when it happened, I just had to blink. I was like, oh, he meant me. You know what I mean? Like I was just like excited because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this is my moment. You know what I mean? But then it was just like, wait, what? Here? And that's when I had to go looking into where Oregon was, because it actually had to happen to me 2 more times before I was like, where the fuck am I right now? And I didn't realize that Oregon has a historically racist from its inception, like in its charter. And I think the charter just got moved for a change either at the end of 2019 or earlier this year, because there's racist language in there that says black people are not allowed to own property, that if they are here, they can only work for X amount of time before they have to leave. And at any point in time, the state can seize their stuff, and things that black people do are automatic felonies. It's all kinds of bullshit that is still in their charter. Is it enforced? No, but it's still on the language of Oregon. And Oregon was founded as a penal colony base. It's like our Australia, where they were sending prisoners and miscreants. So the nerve, the audacity, the unmitigated gall of white people who have been deemed trash by other white people to tell us, you know what I mean? Like, it's just ridiculous, you know what I mean? But I didn't know that. I went out to a place called Hatfield Aquatic Center. It's basically where I did. They do a lot of marine mammal research, and that's my major, animal science. So I was out there, and it's right on the coast. And after we out of class, we would just go. I was one of the few people with a car. So me and this dude named Grady, also in Omega, meeting him out there
Grady?
from Mississippi, and he sounded like Grady from Mississippi.
I mean, shit. Where else could
He
he
was
be
so
from with a
he
name
was
like
short,
Grady?
and the crazy thing is, he had a penchant for white women, and I tried to understand because he did not like white people, but he loved smashing white. And I realized that a lot of this was probably revenge, and a lot of it was he grew up in the Delta where he has seen a lynched body. He has seen it with his own eyes, and he's 2 years older than me. So this is not like no Grady from Sanford and Son. I was 24, no, 22, 23 at the time. So he's a younger guy, and he has seen it, but it's never going to make national news because it's just knowing what happens down there in the Delta. So he does not trust or like white people, and for the longest time, I couldn't understand him because he was always on edge. And I'm like, Grady, you gotta calm the fuck down. And if you're that worried about it, I'm carrying. We're good. You know what I mean? Like, he's all right, man. But he was just that white man looking at me. It wasn't until we walked. He's short, but he's built like an X-Man. Like, he's ripped. I'm like, yeah, Grady, you're a sidewalk cracking motherfucker. People are gonna look at you. He's like, nah, man, I know that look. Right. We were walking in the street, and I literally heard a car accident because this white man in a pickup truck had slammed into another white man who had stopped in the middle of the street. Both of them looking over at us. Like, and we're just walking. It's like straight out of Remember the Titans. I was like, I'm thinking, what are they looking at? Something's. And then I realized they're staring at us. And Grady is already on 10. And then you knew they were racist because the dude wasn't even mad that the dude rear-ended him. You know what I mean?
He's like, shit, I was looking too.
Yeah, so from that point, I was like, all right, we need to figure out where the fuck we are. You know what I mean? And then, but here's the thing, though. Grady would randomly, we were roommates while we were out there for the summer. Grady would randomly disappear and not be able to pick up his phone, either because he turned his phone off or he didn't have signal. You know why? Because he met some white girl at a bar, and one time he went out to the woods, like on a camping trip with him, and I couldn't find him for like a day and a half. It was a Friday. I didn't see him again until Sunday. I thought for sure, because in my mind, I'm thinking Grady's already got this energy. He's on one, so either he flashed and somebody got him, or he got lured somewhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He calls out, hey, what's up, man? I'm like, Grady, what the fuck? Where are you? And mind you, he's my frat brother, but he's a grown-ass man. Mm-hmm. Like, Grady, so what you mean? I was like, Grady, I've been calling you. Oh, I ain't got no signal out there in the woods. Nigga, you went out into the woods? Yeah, I met this girl. I'm like, first of all, no invite. Second of all, you went out there with who? Oh, these girls I met. I'm like, so Grady, these white girls. Yeah. In the woods. Yeah. By yourself. Yeah. And you didn't tell nobody. Nah. Grady, you don't see a fucking problem with this? Like you who walk around thinking somebody's trying to get you all the time? Let me ask you a question. If you were going to set somebody up and they look like you and you couldn't just beat their ass, how would you do it? I'm like, and not only, you know where my pistol is, where I keep it. You could have took it and left a note and let me know. You know what I mean?
Something.
And then from there, he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to do it again, though, but I'll let you know. I'm like, whatever. And then I realized that for him to do that, it's because he thinks he's getting back at white people by smashing it, which I didn't even want to touch. All right. So from that, I've had the D1 experience. I've had the black school experience. And I would not appreciate a white person coming into our space, kind of like what was going on at Howard, where they were using it like a dog park, just for the black experience, or to say that or to be a glorified, I've got black friends. I went to a whole black school, so I can speak with this racist shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
There was that girl, like a year ago. She went to UAB, I think, or she had gotten in trouble, or either she didn't have her money or she didn't graduate. Something happened. She was at odds with the university, and she went on there just bad mouthing. I always have to deal with this with these black schools. But she was on scholarship or something. It was something like that. But she went to an HBCU, and then we found out, no, bitch, you fucked up. But you couldn't wait to throw that on the bus.
The issue that I have is like there's only so many spaces that are exclusively ours.
Facts.
That belong to just us. And there's so many spaces that belong to them or they or a whole bunch of people. And it's like, why do you have to take these little places that are just for us and infiltrate them for whatever the reason, be it an experience, you hunting for black men or whatever the case may be? It's just like, why do you have to infiltrate the few little spaces that we do have?
Right. And I am partial to that because I didn't even want to go to college. Like, I was ready to join the military straight out of high school and pull warheads on foreheads. And now I can't imagine my life had I not, especially had I not gone to Tuskegee or an HBCU. I wouldn't be who I am.
My mother wouldn't let me go to a HBCU. She was like, "You're not going to HBCU. You are going to a PWI." Because the stigma is the education is different or whatever. And I was heartbroken.
Bullshit too. Let me tell you, as somebody who's been to both, what I will say, the benefit of Oregon State, I got registered in all my classes in 15 fucking minutes. My advisors made it their personal mission to make sure that not only my schedule was set the way it needed to be, to the point where I've overheard them, they put me on hold while they yell at a professor, like, I brought this student from all the way from Tuskegee, the best animal science program, to come out here, and this is how you treat, like going to war. For me, and she don't know me from a can of paint, when she's got people, she's been their dean all through their college career. You know what I mean? So I will say that perhaps at PWIs, either they're paid well enough or the people that work there want to work there, versus some of our HBCUs, the people who work there are just from that town.
My experience at a PWI was completely different. They did not give one single solitary fuck about me. I registered myself for my own classes. I met with my academic advisor once.
Let me ask you a question though. Like, logistically, when you got registered, how many days or hours did it take you to do that?
I mean, I did it myself. So I did it. Right. I did it online, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was a fairly simple process because it was me doing it.
Let me explain something to you about HBCU registering.
I've heard.
Okay. So you haven't lived. Like, I pledged. I'm gonna make it. Okay. Shout out Ellie. But if you go to an HBCU, you too have pledged. You have pledged whatever that HBCU is, because the provost, the registrar, the internet, whatever access it is going to try you. Your patience. There are people who don't get registered for the fall until January. What starts in January? The spring. What? The spring semester. There were people literally still trying to get their registration finalized from the fall. I was on scholarship. The government paid my money before I even got there. And it still took 2-3 weeks for me to get my shit set. And I was paid. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like you learn to deal with shit, perhaps shit that you shouldn't have to deal with as a college student. You already have enough on your plate, but it's just one of the levels of preparation that it's the most fun you never want to have again. But you know, when shit happens to you in the real world, this is not, you don't panic. Versus if you go to a school that has been coddling and taking care of you, and you get onto the real world who don't give no fucks about you, you may not be able to cope. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not excusing them. I'm just saying it is what it is. Because if I had my way, like, we didn't get, like, if I wanted a transcript up until the last 3 years, I had to send a snail mail request, like a letter with a stamp, to Tuskegee. And then I also had to include postage for them to send me my transcript back. And I had to pay X amount of dollars to get my transcript and X amount more dollars to get a rushed one. And even then, the rushed one just means they're going to process my request within 3 business days.
I'm trying to think. Now, I think that was kind of similar, though. I mean, I haven't requested it in a while, though.
2 years later, I could request a transcript online, but still it's coming through the mail. And now we can get them entirely online, finally, in 2020. It might have been 2019. Let's call it.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's a lack of resources, or just a lack of, or just a condition of this is how we've done it?
But here's the thing about Tuskegee. Tuskegee is the one college in America that is deemed a National Historic Site. So every year they get untold millions from the government to preserve them, just like a national park. Okay. Now, some of that actively prevents modernization because they want to keep the nostalgic look to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will also say this: HBCUs have a stigma that I wouldn't know because I don't really pay attention to PWIs that weren't state schools, like private institutions.
Mm-hmm.
But Tuskegee is a private school, so private HBCUs especially have a stigma where money gets mismanaged or put into shit that does not benefit the student body, but benefits the aesthetic of the university. Like they'll beautify the campus, but the dorms will be falling apart, or we don't have Wi-Fi, or our printers suck.
Okay.
When that's where that money could have went. That's why when Mackenzie, formerly Bezos, I don't know what her maiden name is, but she just donated a shit ton of money
to
schools.
HBCUs.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's a blessing because it's millions to each school, like 30 plus million to each school. But I don't want to see that shit get, for lack of a better word, embezzled, legally embezzled, because these trustees do whatever the fuck they want with the money, and you don't see it. Okay, I remember I was on full scholarship, and I had been going to college since I was a sophomore because my high school program, we had to go to University of Maryland to use their resources. So I just thought this is what college is. I remember in college, our internet being so bad, we used to get those little AOL CDs, and it was just we would set up other emails so that we would get a free trial and cancel it because that was faster going through our phone line than the internet at the school. That's it. And then trying to be, that's ridiculous. I had my own printer because my parents bought me one. And then now, of course, the whole dorm thinks I'm fucking Kinko's. Like, no, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, you are.
Like, but at the same time, it's like you feel them. You know what I mean? Like, so, like I said, a black school is going to put you some things that you're not going to deal with anywhere else. But if you use it to make you stronger, that's not an experience. And on the flip side is you're never going to have to wonder if you belong. Now, I know people who feel like the HBCUs didn't accept him. I actually had to block one because he was threatening his own safety by talking crazy to me. So I blocked him rather than going to go find him. Growth.
You
know what I mean? Like
growth.
But yeah. They feel like, but those are also the same people who already feel like outcasts. Now, even in the kid who I had to block, I do feel like people were unnecessarily rough and hard on him, you know, and he didn't, but he also contributed to it. So, but by and large, the black college experience is the one place where by default, you never have to wonder if you belong. And that just goes so far. You know what I mean? Like, and the black college experience is available to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to go to college, not just for money, because Tuskegee is expensive, especially if you're out of state, but because we suffer from the public school system as is, where you have bright kids who you're never going to know are bright because they don't test well, because the school didn't make sure they didn't test well, or you know what I mean?
I mean, well, so, you know, that racial bias with
right. So their grades on paper, assuming all things are equal, are terrible. But in actuality, this is a shitty school system. You put them into a place that is about them, with professors that care about them, with their peers who they're not scared to go talk to and ask for help to study. And you turn a kid who was a C student in high school into an all-star. That's what our schools were meant to do. So by that token, if that's going to be jeopardized by encouraging white matriculation, then no, I'm not with it. But at the same time, I'm tired of meeting white people who don't know how to fucking act around black people. Not racists who have chosen how to act, but white people who just act like there's not two Americas.
Okay, but do you feel like, I mean, granted, I agree with everything that you're saying, but also do you not feel like the responsibility is on them not to necessarily infiltrate black spaces, but to just do the homework?
Absolutely. But you can only read about so much in a book, because we got black people who think HBCU educations are substandard. No matter how many of our titans of our society graduate from HBCU, where the fuck do you get off? You know what I mean? Like,
You're not wrong.
Like, how dare you?
You are not wrong.
Like, to this day, Kamala Harris is about to be the vice president, and there are still people who look at HBCUs, black people, not the whites,
Right.
who look at HBCUs crazy. And if they don't, oh, well, Howard is okay. And get the fuck out of here.
I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So you can only read so much. You got to go see about it. You got to go be about it. You feel me? But at the same time, check yourself. And don't only check yourself the one time, because the black student going to HBCU has to grow. Being black ain't going to get you through. So even if you have the most non-toxic, open-minded, proper attitude as a day one freshman at an HBCU, not only do you need to maintain that, you need to expand that, because every other student here is growing. You're not going to grow just because you're here. This is an active process. You are working. You know what I mean? So if you're saying that you want to see what it's like to be in a minority, the first thing you're going to learn is don't say dumb shit like that. I get your sentiment that you want to see how the rest of America live, because you want the betterment of there, and you recognize your privilege, and you want to be able to translate that. That's fine. You know what I mean? I don't expect you as a freshman to be able to vocalize that because you're 18. Mm-hmm. You're an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, but understand, you're not coming here for a black pass. You're not coming here for a hood pass. Because I know plenty of HBCU graduates that I'll punch in the face today. There's plenty of coons.
You are very angry.
Am I? I just think violence solves problems.
It does not.
It does not.
I
just think the biggest lie that we've been told is that violence don't solve problems.
It doesn't.
Fuck if it don't.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It often breeds more problems, and there's other ways that are more efficient.
It can leave situation ripe for other more problems, but that problem you addressed, it's like a toolbox. I don't think you should always go to violence, but just like every job doesn't need a hammer. You might need a screwdriver. You might need a ruler. You might need a saw.
What you're not finna do is sit here and justify your violence, sir. You're not going to.
It solves stuff. But then people tell me I have an anger problem. I don't got no cases. I manage my anger very well because I have not hurt nobody. Like,
have you not hurt anyone?
I hurt myself.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
Drink. I got to do drinks with.
Whatever. Whatever, yo.
Yeah. But like you said, we got to protect our spaces. But I don't think protecting our spaces is always means exclusion. I think just like our Greek organizations used to vet, if you will, intake, we need to do the same to members that are not us. Not just on a grades thing, like, why are you here? Why are you here?
Yeah. That was my first question when I was reading.
We know what you why are you here? We know what you hope to gain. What do you hope to bring? And no, we don't ask the rest of them what they hope to bring, because we know why they're here. And if that makes you uncomfortable, go back to where you came. I'm not abashed for that. I saw a comment saying that particularly because Spelman is considered one of, if not the top HBCU institution, and it's all female, that somewhere a black girl is crying because she didn't get into Spelman because of this white girl. React.
So I understand the sentiment, but then that also reminds me of when like white people cry about black people at their institutions.
Texas. You remember that shit?
Yeah. A fucking C student.
That's exactly where my brain went.
I didn't get in. Yeah, because you're a fucking shitty student. That's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it reminds me of those situations, and it's just like, I know that just like, any other job or whatever, there are quotas that colleges and HBCUs have to meet or whatever, or they want to meet, whatever have you. But do I feel like she's taking a seat away from someone black? I can't say that's what I feel like.
I think if she wasn't there, another black student would have beat the black student who feels something about it.
Right. You get there based on, you get there at the end of the day, but the same way that we tell them when they're like, oh, affirmative action, blah, blah, blah. You get there based on your merit.
Right. And that's the other thing. I think our black
it.
schools need to be stewards of that, because I remember being nervous. Like I told you, I didn't want to go to college. So I got into Tuskegee at the 11th hour. I didn't even apply to them. My guidance counselor, my parents, because they did not want me to go to the war in Iraq was kicking off. They didn't want me to go into the military. So I got a call like late July, August, when, hey, do you want to come here? We got a scholarship for you. I was like, fine. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go, and if I don't like it, I'll go into the Army, and I never left. You know what I mean? But I was worried. I'm like, well, can I even get into Tuskegee? Because my image of Tuskegee was the Tuskegee Airmen. This is a big deal school. They laughed at me. They were like, yes, you'll get into Tuskegee. And I was a good student. Like, I was a good student on paper. So I graduated with a 4.15, but only because my classes were heavily college weighted. So when I got to Tuskegee, I was pretty much a sophomore. But if you compare that to the other kids that were in my program, I was the slacker. I was the smart one.
Okay.
I didn't like to do all the Mickey Mouse work. So they all graduated like 4.8s. And I got a 4.15. So saying that to people, oh, you brainiac. They did the work. You know what I mean? Like, I just got it off the humble. But off the humble, I still had a lot more than other people. But in my mind, I know I'm the slacker of the class. I'm like, can I even get into a school like this? And then when I found out that there were other people here who, for the lack of a better word, dumb, like they have a class there called reading in college. Reading. And the one class at Tuskegee that keeps most people from graduating is reading.
What do you do in this class?
Read. Now, to be fair, I said the same thing because I didn't have to take it. I got exempted out of it only because of my college classes. There were other people who were honor students in their high schools who had to take reading. So I never physically took the class. From what I understand, the curriculum is basically just to prove that you are able to read and write properly and stuff like that, which should have been done before you even got to college, correct? So this is a vestige of our schools are meant to serve our underserved community. So they would admit people, but to keep their accreditation and to make sure that they're producing productive graduates, they supplemented the reading that they never got back then. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So that's why the class is there, at least its spirit and intent. From what I understand, what it has become is that because the class is widely seen as irrelevant, but the teachers there, that's literally the only classes that those teachers they kind of lord over it. So they make it unnecessarily hard to prove that, oh, if people are failing, then obviously there's a need for this class. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So people were failing out of it. And I was like, part of me just wanted to take the class because I'm meeting people who I respect, who are engineers, who are going to graduate cum laude, magna cum laude, but they either failed reading, and I know you can fucking read. I've seen you do it. You know what I mean? Like, they can either, or they put it off until they're the senior. That's the other thing that screws people up. Nobody wants to take this fucking class. So they wait until their semester before they graduate. The class either gets filled up and they can't take it, so they can't graduate, or they bullshit through it because this is their last requirement, and then they fail it, and then they can't graduate.
Reading.
Yes. And from what I understand, it's mad book reports and mad papers. It's like a whole bunch of fucking work for about nothing. So a lot of people serious, you know what I mean? But for the people that it does, and I think it's a reflection that the class is less and less relevant, which means that more and more people who come to Tuskegee are reading at the level that they should be. But you got to understand, Tuskegee University is Tuskegee University now. It used to be Tuskegee Institute. And then before that, it was Tuskegee's Normal and Agricultural, because our schools were land-grant institutions. They've grown what they are. So you're taking people fresh off of a farm or who maybe didn't get the reading instruction that they should have gotten. So that's why it's necessary. So it's a vestige of that. I graduated, I left Tuskegee in 08, and I officially graduated in 09. No. Yeah, 07. And I officially walked in 08. So It's now 2020. Whether or not reading is still there, I don't know. I haven't checked the the course
I'm
catalog.
gonna go look because I want to know.
I'm sure it's not just Tuskegee. I'm sure there's other schools that have similar courses. And it was a running joke. Like, did you pass reading? Nigga? I'm like, I thought it was a joke, and then I realized it was a real fucking class, and they could not stand that lady, dog. Like people would cussing her out. like I heard them shouting at her. like people hated that class and they hated her. But I never took it because I'd be damned.
I'm gonna go look to see once we're done, and I'm gonna report back and tell you.
But they tried it on me. They tried it on me when my senior year. Oh, you never took reading. It's just a flag. I'm like, bitch. Do you see where I came to the school as a sophomore? Get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm glad I did because I would have got a C in that class because I don't like to do busy work. And that'd have been dumb to get a C in fucking reading.
Also,
you know.
Relatable
but yes,
content.
so we do need to protect our spaces, but I don't think protection automatically means
exclusion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But vet them by all means and hold them fucking accountable because you know what some of them are going to do. Some of them, it's kind of like where white people historically will claim that they're Native American, don't have a drop of Native blood in them, but they'll do it because it gets them subsidies. They get access to grants and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So kind of the same thing. They'll come to our black schools.
Shit, didn't Rachel Dolezal do that? Did she go to HBCU?
Yeah, I don't know where she went, but she definitely faked the funk.
Yeah.
There's a chick that just resigned up here at GW in DC.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody even asked her. She just said, I just feel bad. I've been acting like I'm black. Like, and that's in, you know how bold you got to be to do that shit?
Sorry, guys. My bad.
It's one thing. I think Dolezal was out in like Seattle or some shit, or Washington.
I think so. Something like that.
You know how bold you got to be to do that shit in Chocolate City? In DC, my nigga?
Was she saying that she was black, or was she saying that she was Hispanic?
No, she said she was black. Or like part black. Like, I was just like, and the fact that she just told on herself voluntarily, that means that she was just like, all right, fuck this. Or somebody threatened to out her.
Somebody was gonna out her. That's what it had to be. It had to be.
I remember blinking. I just remember laughing. I was like, at that GW right there?
Yeah, that hit close. I was like, really though? Here?
Yeah, man. It's wild out here. But yo, we gave them 2.5 hours of live spirited content. Did you have anything else that you wanted to bring? We forgot the main one.
I was gonna say, are we gonna do the?
I'm up for it. I don't know what you got to do. All right, let's hit it. Let me get to the conversation. I posted it on my page, where basically, ladies, a friend of mine who's married, shout out Jeremy, asked this question. He said, say that a woman approached your husband and offered him $5,000 to be a sperm donor so that she could conceive a child. And we're going to assume that it's like scientifically with a cup, not like fucking. Would you let him do it? And then I expanded it to the fellas, like, you're presented with this situation where a woman asks you to donate sperm so that she can conceive. What's your next move? And this was asked in one of my group chats I'm the only single person in this group chat. Don't ask me why I'm in a group chat with a bunch of married people. It's born of necessity. But shout out Jay Fallon and Jamie. So they were like, of course, the women were like, hell no. You know what I mean? And me, initially trolling, but still somewhat serious because I didn't think it was going to go this left. I was like, his body, his choice. Because honestly and truly, while I said that in a trolling spirit, that is literally how I feel. However, before we got into the argument, my mind frame was, you definitely need to consult your wife. And if she doesn't want you to do this, that is something you need to take under heavy care consideration, because it will have consequences in your marriage and could possibly end it. And if that's not important to you, then whatever. But at the end of the day, the decision lies with the man, because just like I stand all day for women's autonomy over their bodies, married or otherwise, ain't no woman on this earth about to tell me what to do with mine, my wife or otherwise. And the whole exception I took with that statement was the word let. Because I'm tired of these phrases where you see the meme, fellas, would you let your woman go out in public wearing this? Or, just all kinds of dumb shit. Like, that is a grown person. Where the fuck did you get off letting me do anything? But you as a woman, how do you...
You tagged me in the post, so
Yes.
I saw what some of the ladies' responses, and they were pretty consistent. And I'm sorry, y'all, I don't agree. I don't agree with y'all. I feel like there is, like you said, there's obligation to consult with your partner on everything. So why wouldn't you consult over something that big? But I don't see a reason as to why, like, it's like a hell no. Like, it would be, I would need more information. Like, is this like someone you know? Is there a concern with like the welfare of the child in question? But other than that, like, why I don't understand why it's a big deal. And that might just be maybe my ignorance on the situation. But
Right.
I don't own no niggas. I don't own none.
If you
And
were
so,
married to one, would that change? Does that mean you own him?
you said what?
If you were married, because we recognize you're single just like me. Let's say
Right.
you were married.
I still don't own no niggas. I don't want to own no niggas. It seems like a lot of work.
Thank you. And my thing is, like, I fully believe that this is a decision that needs to be made with full consideration. But at the end of the day, you are the executor. I can't sit there and say that men don't have the right to legislate women's rights to abortion and everything like that. I can't say that men don't get to decide if a woman keeps or doesn't keep his child, married or otherwise. I can't say here and say that if you're married, that a woman is obligated to have sex with her husband, regardless if she wants to or not. I can't advocate against that and then say that a woman can tell a man what to do with his sperm. Now, if you're married, I recognize that you've taken vows. I recognize that, and this is just from my own research about sperm donorship, that there are states that even if you do what's called a known donor, meaning that you didn't go to like a sperm bank, like let's say you have friends who are gay or lesbians, and you want to donate sperm to them, and you sign all the paperwork and everything like that, saying that, hey, I'm not doing any parental rights for this child. This is for you guys. If they break up or whatever, the state can still come after you for child support. It varies state by state. Some states it just comes down to the judgment of a magistrate and largely comes down to the financial situation of the parties involved. Some states there's like, if you get XYZ form notarized and that's a legal document, get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? So it really just depends.
I mean, I wouldn't want my husband to be on or like She Hate Me. Like, do you remember that movie?
Yes.
I wouldn't want him to be on like that. But if it's like somebody who's like, hey, we can't conceive, blah blah blah. You think my nigga is worth $5,000? You think he is worth? Bitch, sign it. Look, we don't take checks around here. But if you got a cashier's like or money order, cash, we could do that.
Know that shit, like
if he's okay with it, like why would I just? It doesn't feel like a big deal to me, and I really wanted to. What I was looking for in the responses from the ladies on your page is like, I understand there was a no, but I wanted to know why exclusively there was a no, and I didn't really see anyone who said like it's no because da-da-da-da. It was like just no because I feel uncomfortable. But it's like, well, why? I wanted to know, and I'm not faulting them, of course, because you're
entitled to your feelings. Like, I think that's what it was coming off when I was asking them why. That I'm saying it in the spirit. Why? That's a stupid reason. No, I just want to know, because I think at the end of the day, if you remove, in a hypothetical situation, obviously, if you remove the possible legal implication, and if you take as a given that the man is not going to feel like he abandoned his child out here, he's cool with it, and you guys are doing, what possible harm could it do to you? What you're saying that this is detrimental to you? Why, other than the fact that you feel that someone got a piece of your husband.
You possess him. You own
Right.
him. That's all. In any argument of any nature, I just want to know, like, what is the reasoning for your standpoint?
Right.
Like, what is because you may provide a reasoning that I hadn't seen before. They'd be like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I can understand your point. But if it's just like, no, because I said no, well, why?
And the closest one I got to that was the fear of the unknown. And that kind of resonated with me because it's just like guys will have a cut buddy with a woman. Hey, we're not catching no feelings, whatever. We just doing what to do. They fuck around. One of them gets pregnant. And, well, we talked about this. She's going to get an abortion. And she was all about that life 6 months ago. But now she felt something move. I can't do it. You know what I mean? So I understand how the fear of the unknown, because feelings change once it actually happens. So not wanting to expose yourself and your relationship to the possibility that, yeah, this all sounds well and good now, but later on my husband can't sleep because he's wondering how his child is doing. Or, you know what I mean? I get that. Mm-hmm. That was the closest one. But everyone else, they just kept breaking it back to, oh, my vows, this is a violation of my vows. I'm like,
but how is that a violation of your vows? Because he consulted with you, you know, or whatever the case may be. Like, he gave you an opportunity to weigh in. So how was that? And, you know, I'm not, again, ladies, I'm not married. I'm not coming for y'all marriages, y'all rings, y'all last names. I just want to understand.
Right.
Because
and they're like, you don't understand because you're single. I'm like, y'all act like my parents ain't been together for like I see them. You know what I mean? What you're telling me is the only way to truly honor your spouse is to just go with what they said. Which, if that's what you're saying, I'm also going to call bullshit, because in one breath, the man is the leader of the house, but in another breath, happy wife, happy life.
We live in a matriarchal society. If these are Black people, we live in a matriarchal society. Women run the show.
Right.
So it's not always like, oh, the man is the head of the household. Now, you might make it seem that way to him or to your friends or family.
Black women head more households by, we can get into it. That's a whole other conversation, right or wrong. But Black women head more households in Black society in America than anybody. Okay. Right. So here's my thing though. Like, at the end of the day, you don't get to supersede someone's autonomy to their body. That's just the pure issue for me. Now, I do agree that if he says, I know that this is going to piss you off and yada yada, but I'm going to do it anyway, then he has to accept the consequences that come with it. You fully are within your right to say, I did not sign up for this, and right. I can't. But for you to say that him making a decision is disrespectful to you, that's something, or that he violated his vows because you own him, get the fuck out of here. Because it's just like we call niggas toxic who, when a woman wants to change her hair, and, oh, you didn't consult with your husband? And then, of course, well, I wouldn't. I'm like, and that's you. That's a personal choice. But at the end of the day, if you wanted to, guess what? It's your fucking hair. It's your body.
And I mean, when it comes, like, okay, so for instance, like, I know women who have husbands who say, hey, he don't want no more kids. No more kids for us, he said. No, but I'm pregnant. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep this baby.
When I told your ass.
Is that not?
And we're married. And I told your ass no. I seen that shit on Judge Hadget plenty of times. Like, I'm done with the kids. Well, you should have got a vasectomy. You should have did this. You should have did that. She told me she's on fucking birth control. This is my wife. So, but yeah, you don't get to do that. But what it comes down to is just the possessiveness. And the funny thing is, so my friend ended up getting fed up with me, and she told me I pee sitting down. I don't know why she said it. I laughed because it was disrespectful, but I was just like,
she said what?
What? She was like, Alan pee sitting down. I was like, okay. It's one of those things you hear that is so ridiculous that, like, I should be mad, but what? You know, like,
that is funny. That is funny.
She went down the whole thing. She was like, what if because she's disagreed with me totally. Mm-hmm. And she even made a post. I'm not gonna call it a sub, but it was posted immediately after I posted this question on my status.
Mm-hmm.
So she was like, married people have rights, responsibilities, duties, and to somebody else that a single person has none of. And I'm paraphrasing.
I disagree with that.
Right.
Just because
But
I'm not married does not mean I don't have obligations to other people. Just
I
because
want
I
you to expound on
haven't.
that. But I was just saying that for her mind frame. So in that vein, she said that, what about if my husband told me, we've had conversations. He said that if he's ever injured or something like that, or he's like a vegetable in a hospital, he doesn't want to live like that. Pull the plug. But then it happens, and I, as his wife, decide that I don't want to let him go. I'm going to keep him there. That's basically what you're saying. I'm like, no, that's what you're saying.
That is a
Because
way
he
moving
made
the
a decision
goalpost.
about his body, and you're violating it, just like the sperm shit. That you're proving my point, not yours, because she thinks that if the wife keeps him alive, that is the equivalent of the man donating the sperm anyway. When it's the opposite, the wife keeping him alive is violating his wishes for his body, his body. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, and my thing is, and then she was like, "Well, he should have signed the DNR." I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And in that instance, because he can't trust his wife, he played himself. Okay, but that does not mean you're not violating him. You know what I
mean? You full well know his wishes, and you're just
right.
like, I don't give a fuck about that.
Right. Over his body. And that's what she's saying. Well, she knows I don't want to do this sperm, but he's going to do it anyway because it's his. It's his. It's his body. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm not even saying you have to stick around. You can divorce him. But that's your choice. That is your choice. What's not your choice is what you tell him to do with his body. And I don't understand why I have to explain this to women who I know are so pro-choice, who are so, and I agree with you that men should not be the gatekeepers to women's health. Men should not be the gatekeepers to what hair women can wear, especially black women can wear in a professional environment. Like, all of that shit is trash. Mm-hmm. Where do y'all get off other than the fact that my husband, this is where my babies come from, like Lois on Family Guy? I don't.
I mean, I would be anxious to know. Like I said earlier, I just want to know the specific reasoning because I haven't seen the actual reasoning other than I just don't want to.
Right. And whatever the reason is, and that's a valid reason. Don't get me wrong. You are entitled to your feelings. I'm not going to validate any woman who doesn't want her husband to do this. You are entitled to that feeling. All I'm saying is that he needs to take that under consideration. You have not made the decision for him. And that goes over a lot of people.
So that was the whole thing, like, oh, well, he can't because I said no.
Right. That whole let shit. Okay. I'm the type of nigga that would do it just because you said, bitch, what?
Okay, he can't because okay.
Right.
So then now,
we can get into
how is that a partnership? Like how is that?
Say that one more time.
How is that a partnership?
Had to get the good shots.
Like how is that? Like if you have duties to each other, where do the duties to him come into play?
Because I want this.
But it's to each other.
Right. And then again, I'm not trying to paint her as holier than thou because her faith, she's a spiritual person. Her faith is important to her, and I recognize that. And I have a cursory knowledge. You know what I mean? Like I'm technically a Christian, but I'm not one of these sanctified people. I can't remember the last time I went to church. I don't read the Bible regularly. So I don't challenge her in that. But she told me that, I'm sure she was quite upset with me because she actually cursed, and she don't curse, but at least not at me.
You don't know how mad.
She was like, I hope you stay single, and if you do get married, you better write your own vows because the vows in the book are not for you. And I was like, which book? And because there's so many, even in Christianity, there's so many different ones. You know what I mean? Never mind the other religions. And then two, you can't find two pastors who read the same passage the same.
Or take the same meaning.
Right.
From it.
So because of how you interpret, that's the end all be all. Because I have honored my wife by bringing her in this conversation. If he went and did it on his own and never brought it up to when she found out, or even if she didn't find out, he has violated his
I have a question.
But
And I'm not trying to come for your friend, but in the book, I assume she's talking about the Bible. Doesn't it say love, honor, and obey your husband too? I mean, I know it says love, honor, and obey your wife too, but it does say obey your husband too. And you know, Christianity is a patriarchal base.
Patriarchal as fuck.
So
our wives supposed to like pay us like hella goats and shit. Like, where my goats?
Now, you know, my Christianity is rusty. I ain't been in a long time, but
Right.
one of Abraham who had all them kids.
And then yeah, like such and such begot such and such. They had multiple. So Old Testament. That's what I'm saying. I defer to her theological expertise because she lives it, and
right.
I would never deride her faith. It's very important to her. You
right.
know what I mean?
And if she's watching this, I'm not trying to be offensive to anything, your thoughts or
right.
your religion or anything. I'm just saying in general.
I just posit. I just offer that no two people read the same passage of the current, but even whatever book the King James, whatever book you read, you can find two saints who read the same passage differently, who interpret it differently. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you need to know your spouse. And I do think that a husband will be taking undue risk acting in a way contrary to something his wife is super passionate about and passionate opposition to. Mm-hmm. I'm not denying that. Okay?
I agree.
I don't say that you get to, well, it's mine, I'm going to do what I want, fuck the consequences, be happy about it. No. If you're going to do this anyway, then you need to figure out how to make your marriage work because you took vows to make this work and you are making this difficult, so you need to make a way forward. I recognize that. Okay? And that's why most niggas, I would tell, hey, it's probably not worth it. I get wanting to help somebody. You know what I mean? But it's probably not worth it because you took a vow to her. And if you don't think you could smooth this over after it, is it worth the risk? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I fully support that.
Do you think that
it's his fucking decision?
Do you think that the women who said no, do you think that if there was a woman who came to them and said, hey, I just want one of your eggs. I don't want anything other than one of your eggs. And I'm going to pay you $10,000, $20,000.
I think eggs go for like 30, don't they?
The eggs are expensive. Let me tell you, sperm is cheap.
Some bullshit.
Sperm is cheap. Eggs are hella expensive. If I had known that, you know, they was paying that much, I would have been doing it in college. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh, did you also know that it's very rare to find black sperm donors? Like black men?
Yes, because I followed this girl on YouTube and she bought some sperm, which was, I think she paid like $800.
Yeah. Some bullshit.
So $5,000 is a good return. Let me just tell you, ladies. But
money aside, it's like you said, you're saying do it. Would they sell their eggs? And we brought that up too, and they were like, I wouldn't do that either because those are our eggs, those are our children. And I'm like,
but they're not your children until okay.
Right. You in one breath say that part of the pro-choice argument is that this is not a child; it's an embryo. It's cells. So my sperm is cells, but it'll become a child. It'll become her child. Not yours.
Because it's not your egg.
And they refuse to see it that way. No, because I married them. Those are mine.
So it's possessiveness.
That's what it, in my opinion, that's what it comes down to.
I mean,
now, if that works for them, if that's their dynamic, if both of them are equally yoked in that, that's healthy for them. But at the end of the day, my sole position is body autonomy. And I cannot in good conscience fight for women the way I do, and I'm going to. You know, I don't expect anything in return. I don't think this would ever happen to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, I get asked to donate sperm all the time, but I'm single. You know what I mean? And I do think it would be a weird dynamic. Like, you would have to look at the woman who is asking a man she knows to be married for this. You know? Mm-hmm. But I do think there are scenarios and ways to get that done. Like, just like asking for a threesome, you better go ask the wife first. And let her bring him in, you know, because she's your hardest critic anyway. And then number two, it's like, who is the woman? So think about it. Let's say I'm a boy. Let's say my sister was a lesbian, and she wanted to be a mom, and the girlfriend, the wife, whatever, is the one who's going to carry the baby. She wants the baby to look like her. Mm-hmm. She asked me. I'm married. That could be a valid situation where you don't have to worry about me sneaking off with this woman, the kid is already gonna be my family anyway because it's my nephew. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, you're just automatically gonna have a boy
or niece, whatever. But the point is, all that other shit that people are worried about, possible bonds to the baby, hit me up for child support, that is a non-issue. Would you still do it? I still bet the answer would be no, and that's even for family. Now I can see in the mind your brain goes straight some random Jezebel who couldn't get her own man wants a piece of yours. That's what's happening in your head. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It is a complex issue. It is very complex, and I'm not saying there's any wrong answer to how to feel.
Mm-hmm.
The sole exception that I took to this whole thing was, where the fuck do you get off thinking that you are the final word about what I do with my knuckle children?
Knuckle children.
Yeah, but like you said, if we take that out, if that's not my issue, we get into the why. I think it's possessiveness, and I think it can be toxic. But if y'all are equally yoked in that, if that's how y'all want to live, make it last, man. I don't think.
I mean, a lot of Western relationships. Well, you would say Western, like a lot of relationships are based in possessiveness, and it's like, why?
It's just toxic as fuck. And then when people get divorced, we see these murder suicides. If I can't have you, nobody can. They shoot the kids and everybody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But that's the worst iteration of it. I'm not going to say that there aren't good ones because they last and we don't hear about them. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't know. I don't have the answers. But I do recognize how passionate and upset my friend got with me because she was all the way out of her character.
I hope you apologized to her and said
for what?
I hope you apologized to her and said you were sorry for making her upset.
But did I make her upset?
I mean, if you made her upset, then apologize.
I feel like she made herself. I'm not sorry for anything I said. So
you don't have to be. When you apologize, you don't have to apologize for anything you said. You're just saying, I apologize that I made you upset. That I'm apologizing for how you feel based off of what I said, not for what I said, because what I said I stand by.
I recognize that that's an avenue. I'm gonna have to decide if I can subscribe to that because why am I responsible for how you feel?
You're not responsible for how she feels, but I'm saying that's.
But if I apologize for it, I'm accepting blame, responsibility for it. Right?
Not necessarily. I don't see it like that.
So when you say you're sorry,
I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's different than.
Oh, that's that customer service. I be hitting my customers with that shit all the time. I'm sorry you feel that way. But
I'm sorry that you feel that way. It's different from I'm sorry. I'm sorry is I'm taking ownership of what happened and I feel bad about it and I'm being accountable. I'm sorry that you feel that way is you feel that way and that's fucked up. And I'm sorry to hear about it.
That's my petty bag, and I don't want to do that. But I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna figure out a way because I do care, and I don't want her to think that I'm questioning. Not that she gives it. I don't think she even gives a shit if I value what, but I need her to know that I heard you. I'm looking at this as a soul issue, and all that other stuff. Like you don't stop being a person with autonomy just because you're married to somebody. That just doesn't happen. You have more responsibilities, but at the end of the day, your body is yours.
I agree with you.
Because if not, then a nigga can just keep you barefoot and pregnant in the house. And I thought we moved past that.
I mean, some people want that, but you know.
Yeah, some people do. Childbearing hips. Well, look, we put in a solid 3 hours. I'm probably. So what I'm gonna do is, do you have a YouTube channel or something? Okay, what I'm gonna do is let me know if this link posts on your page in case you want it. Okay. I'm gonna make this as a whole 3 hour episode, but I'm also gonna cut because I think we kind of advertised this last part. We stated to the end. Yeah. I'm gonna make it a mini part so that I can post that separately. I'll tag you in it. You can share it if you want.
Okay.
But it'll be up there. But you're welcome anytime. Thanks for coming through. You're officially a friend to the show.
Thanks
what I just realized, I honestly and truly don't know what the sound is gonna be like because you can't see it, but I'm using like a little soundboard here with the gunshots and everything. I forgot to press record on here. And normally I do a backup file of audio to post on my podcast. So what I'm going to have to do is steal the audio from this video and then upload that, which I've done before.
Good luck with that.
But because we've been having the
The
audio
issues.
issue, I don't know if yours is going to come through because I'm hearing you through my phone, but I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Well, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Thank you. All right. Well, you take it easy.
You too.
And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.